Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Hokage I, Naruto becomes stronger by God reward working system. Chapter 41. Naruto went back and forth between training and the ninja school as usual. In daily life, he would tease Hinata. After Naruto's constant practice, Hinata no longer fainted when faced with some of Naruto's teasing. But she still showed a shy expression. Naruto also liked this girl more and more. Naruto stroked Hinata's hair and looked at Hinata as if no one was around. Naruto-kun, don't, there are so many people watching. Hinata whispered, her fair neck was already pink. The people around also looked at the two with ambiguous eyes. The relationship between Naruto and Hinata has long been known to everyone, and Naruto has never restrained himself. Hinata, don't be afraid, they are just jealous and envious. Naruto said with a smile, and then held the girl's hand. Naruto-kun. Hinata lowered her head again in embarrassment, not daring to speak. The other classmates also laughed when they saw this scene. In the past 2 years, Naruto has been very popular in Class A, and Naruto's strength is also ranked in the top 3 in the class. Naturally, he is respected by his classmates. After all, this world still respects the strong. After all, most of the people in this class are family members, and they don't have much hostility towards Naruto. Those who are born as civilian ninjas will naturally not be hostile to Naruto, because Naruto's performance is obvious to all. Naruto is no longer the last one, and he shows what a genius should show. Soon, Iruka walked into the classroom, and the noisy scene suddenly quieted down, and Naruto stopped flirting with Hinata. It was still the same old teaching, and Naruto was not interested at all, because he had mastered what Iruka taught. The courses in the ninja school are divided into theoretical courses and practical courses. Practice is, it was combat and kunai training, etc. In fact, there were many things to learn in the theoretical class, such as intelligence gathering, hand seals, riddles, will of fire, trap making, etc. It was no less than what he learned in his previous life. However, with Naruto's ability to remember everything he saw, he easily mastered these skills and mastered them with the help of God's reward for hard work. After school, Naruto said goodbye to Hinata again, and ran to the place where he practiced with Sasuke. After Naruto left, a forest shook slightly. Naruto and Sasuke moved forward quickly, but the speed was not very outrageous. The two looked at each other, and then ran forward again. When they arrived at their destination, Shaoli had already started practicing. Shaoli often used Might Guy to ask for leave to practice physical skills. This was still taught by Naruto. Shaoli's theoretical class was just a casual study, and Naruto did not need Shaoli to become a real ninja. It would be great to be the same as Might Guy. Naruto, Sasuke. After Shaoli greeted him, he started to practice again. The amount of training was so large that even Sasuke couldn't help but smack his lips. At this time, Naruto suddenly said, "Come out." After Naruto finished speaking, the figure in the dark was a little surprised, and then he came out when several people pointed at him. What surprised Naruto was that the person in front of him was actually, his brother-in-law. "Ninki, why are you here?" Shaoli said in astonishment. The person who came was Hyuga Ninki. The reason why he came here was that he heard that Miss Hinata seemed to be close to someone called a demon fox recently. He came to see Naruto's ability, but he didn't expect that he was discovered directly. Rock Lee, humph. Hyuga Neji showed a disdainful expression. In his impression, Rock Lee was just a last-place guy. He only knew physical skills and would have limited achievements in the future. He was not a member of their Hyuga clan, and would only be a mediocre existence in the future. Rock Lee did not use his true strength in daily life, so now Hyuga Neji did not know Rock Lee's strength, and even Might Guy only knew a little about it. Naruto was probably the only one who knew Rock Lee's current strength best, and Sasuke also knew it almost. Hyuga Neji looked at Rock Lee with disdain, and stayed on Sasuke for a moment, and then looked at Naruto. Naruto was wearing a red and white divine robe. He looked stronger than an ordinary child, and his physical skills should be pretty good. His yellow hair was flowing, and his blue pupils revealed calmness, without the slightest fluctuation. No wonder he is so close to Miss Hinata. Naruto looks good now, and his performance in the ninja school is said to be okay. He knew about Uzumaki Naruto because one of their clan members told him that the boy was very close to Hinata. You are Uzumaki Naruto, right? Leave Miss Hinata, she is beyond your reach, the future heir to the main family. Hyuga. Neji said in a deep voice. His tone was full of unkindness. Naruto was a little stunned. This brother-in-law came here to threaten him. Is there such a thing in the original book? Oh, I almost forgot, it should be the butterfly effect caused by my contact with Hinata. But Naruto doesn't care about the plot, the world will be turned upside down by him in the future. With strong strength, he can naturally cope with the changes that will happen next. Naruto licked his lips and looked at Hyuga Neji with interest. Hyuga Neji was also the person Naruto wanted to win over. He should still be confused now. Shrouded in the despair of the caged bird. Originally, he wanted to wait until he had made some progress in the sealing technique before looking for Hyuga Neji, but he didn't expect that he would come to his doorstep now. Half a year later, Naruto should be able to make some progress in the sealing book from Danzo with the ability of God's reward for hard work. The more he studied the sealing technique, the more profound Naruto felt that the sealing technique was. However, with the ability of God's reward for hard work, Naruto's mastery of the sealing technique is no less than that of an average person in 10 years of study. But it is not enough to solve the sealing technique of the caged bird. Naruto raised the corner of his mouth, took a few steps forward, and said, "Why should I leave her? This is not something you can decide. You are just an ordinary person, and she is destined to be the future head of the Zong family, no matter how cowardly she is, this is what is destined. No one can resist the arrangement of fate. Your status is so different, please stop harassing Miss Hinata." Hyuga Neji suddenly became a little excited. He had learned the news before, how could an orphan get the favor of Miss Hinata? That's why he came out to stop Naruto and Hinata from being together. As a member of the branch family, it is his responsibility to protect the main family. And with Hinata's status as a member of the main family, how could the elders in the family and Hyuga Hiyashi allow them to be together? Interesting, interesting. You keep saying that fate is predetermined, but why are you so excited? If you don't think fate is predetermined, then why do you keep talking about it? Obviously, you are also fighting against fate, aren't you? Naruto said with a smile, and he found that Hyuga Neji had changed his expression. Shut up, what do you know? Hinata Neji roared fiercely. At the same time, his body rushed towards Naruto. Gentle fist technique Bagua 36 palms. Looking at Ninki who was coming straight at him, Naruto showed a strange look. Can Ninki use Bagua 36 palms at this time? Thinking of Hyuga Ninki in the original work, it's a pity that he was not trained by the main family. If the resources were in place, the achievements might be higher. In the original work, after Naruto's change, Ninki also changed, but Naruto did not like this change, and the original Naruto was not what he liked. A lot of empty words, but not much practical work was done. After all, it was a problem of vision and thinking. Although the ninja world was saved in the end, it did not fundamentally change the ninja world. This is just like Senju Hashirama. Now Hyuga Neji is like a bird in a cage with broken wings. He wants to fight against fate, but he is extremely desperate. In the original work, he can turn the tide by understanding the unique skills of the clan. Isn't this his fight against fate? He always says that fate cannot be changed, but he has a glimmer of hope in his heart, eager to break free from the shackles of the caged bird. But this time, Naruto will not let him hurt Hinata again, even if it is his brother-in-law. Iron block, iron wall. Naruto did not dodge, but directly used the iron block to block Neji's attack. Neji's attacks kept hitting Naruto's body, just like hitting a stone. When the attack was over, Neji felt that his hands were shaking slightly. In fact, even a stone could not withstand Neji's attack, but Naruto directly used his body to block his attack. Neji's eyes widened immediately, looking at Naruto in disbelief. "What's wrong with you?" Neji said in a deep voice. At this time, he also realized that the boy in front of him was not as simple as he looked. Naruto's body suddenly became as hard as iron. Naruto did not answer Neji's question directly, but said slowly, "Hyuga Neji. The number one genius of the branch family. The son of Hyuga Hazashi, the younger brother of the current Hyuga clan leader Hyuga Hiyashi. What a pity, it's just a branch family. Naruto shook his head and continued. It must be painful for you to be a bird in a cage. After Naruto said this, Ninki suddenly looked at Naruto, his eyes flashing with light, and gritted his teeth and said, "How did you know? Such a core issue is not something that a student of a ninja school can know. You hate the Zong family. You hate the Zong family for killing your father, right?" Naruto spoke again. "Shut up." As if his fig leaf had been torn off, Neji rushed towards Naruto again, but was kicked back by Rock Lee. "Don't hurt Naruto-kun." Without having time to think about why Rock Lee was so powerful, Neji rushed towards Naruto again. "Don't block me." The last one. Chakra condensed in his hand, and he slapped it out, but it hit nothing. Rock Lee turned into an afterimage and hit Hyuga Neji heavily. Only then did Hyuga Neji realize that this existence, whom he regarded as the last one, actually defeated him. "Do you know why your father died?" Naruto asked the soul-searching question again, which stunned Neji. Then Nechi said angrily, "This is all the fault of the main family. It's because of the main family that my father died." Nechi's voice was a little broken and full of hatred. "It's all because the main family made my father take the blame. That's why my father died." Hinata Neji is still young after all, and Naruto easily controlled the rhythm. "Oh, do you think so? Is it really that simple?" Naruto said with a hint of disdain. "Your father was trying to prevent Konoha from being attacked by the Hidden Cloud Village. At that time, Konoha was weak, the fourth Hokage had died, the three ninjas had left, and Konoha fell into an unprecedented period of weakness. In order to avoid causing a war, the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen and the envoys from the Hidden Cloud Village were also aggressive and kept forcing Konoha to hand over the murderer who killed their companions. They are a big family, and it was obviously the other party who wanted to kidnap Hinata, and Hyuga Hiyashi killed the other party, but in the end it was the third Hokage who wanted Hinata to compromise and hand over Hyuga Hiyashi, who is your uncle. Your father took the blame for Hyuga Hiyashi in order to ensure that the Byakugan would not be obtained by the people of the Hidden Cloud Village." Naruto slowly told the truth about the death of Hyuga Neji's father. Neji's eyes also began to change. "Isn't it ridiculous? Although your father was not a member of the main family who was sent out to die, the old stubborn people in the main family would not allow Hinata Hiyashi to be handed over, so your father became a victim of politics. It was clearly the fault of the Hidden Cloud Village, but the third Hokage asked the Hyuga clan to compromise. The third Hokage is old and is no longer the ninja hero he used to be." Naruto's voice was deafening and passed into Hyuga Neji's mind. "Konoha is far from being as simple as you think, and your father's death is not as simple as it seems. If Konoha insisted on going to war at that time, if the attitude of the third Hokage was tougher, maybe your father would not have been in trouble, and the Hidden Cloud Village at that time would not have gone to war with Konoha. At that time, the fourth Raikage of the Hidden Cloud Village had only been in office for a short time, and his strength was still in the recovery period, so naturally he would not go to war with Konoha, so your father died in vain." Naruto said again, and the strong words made Neji a little bit unacceptable. He punched Naruto, but was easily taken by Naruto. Naruto grabbed Hyuga Neji's hands, kicked him away, and continued, "Konoha was so prosperous, but it ushered in the weakest period under the rule of Konoha F4. It was really a corrupt rule." Naruto looked at Hyuga Neji again, and it was obvious that Neji was very shocked now. Xiao Li on the side completely filtered out what Naruto said, and Sasuke looked thoughtful. Neji collapsed on the ground, looking at Naruto in disbelief. Obviously, the guy opposite was about the same age as himself, but why did he know so much about the darkness of Konoha? "Ninki, destiny is never predetermined, you have to believe it. Man can conquer nature." Naruto smiled contemptuously. "Do you know who I am? I am the son of the fourth Hokage." Naruto walked forward and looked down at Neji. A strong shock surged into Neji's heart. What? Unbelievable. Mixed feelings and other feelings floated into Neji's heart. "My mother is Uzumaki Kushina, my father is Namikaze Minato, and I am the current Nine Tails Jinchuriki. I am also the demon fox that everyone in Konoha hates," Naruto said sarcastically. Sasuke and Rock Lee also didn't know why Naruto told this secret to Hyuga Neji. Was he trying to recruit Hyuga Neji? "Ninki, the so-called fate is never unchangeable. If you want to change your destiny, come to me in 3 days. I will tell you what to do." Hyuga Ninki staggered away. He didn't know what his mood was. After Hyuga Ninki walked away, Sasuke walked to Naruto and said, "Is it really appropriate for you to tell him all these things?" Naruto glanced at Sasuke and said with a smile, "Sasuke, I know your concerns, but if we want to take revenge on Konoha in the future, we need the power of more people." During the past 6 months, Naruto also told Sasuke about the Uchiha. After learning that it was an order from the top of Konoha, Sasuke went crazy but was stopped by Naruto. "If you don't have strength, you can't do anything." This sentence made Sasuke wake up. After being enlightened by Naruto, he decided to learn the way of hiding. Hyuga Neji had no idea how the past few days had passed. Naruto's words kept lingering in his mind. Destiny is never predetermined. We must believe that man can conquer nature, and my destiny is in my own hands, not in the hands of God. Neji touched his forehead, and when he thought about what Naruto said, he felt that there seemed to be some mystery about the boy, and there was a temperament on him that made him a little convinced. Neji has been absent-minded these days, and his state was naturally discovered by the teacher in class, but Neji has always been the top student. His grades are also quite good, so he turned a blind eye. Naruto once again sent out his shadow clones to Shisui's location, and even slightly changed them to increase their endurance. Shadow clones can replenish each other through chakra, which means that Naruto's other shadow clones can replenish chakra for other shadow clones to achieve the purpose of endurance. Naruto successfully met Shisui in the Land of Waves. "Naruto, we seem to have been discovered, and there are ninjas investigating us recently." Shisui reported softly. "Do you know where this ninja came from?" "If I'm not mistaken, they should be from the Hidden Mist Village, and some of them are from the rebellious ninjas. I have quietly dealt with the rebellious ninja, but I did not take action against the Kurigakure ninja to prevent our existence from being exposed in advance." Naruto nodded and said, "You did a good job on this matter. We really cannot be exposed to them now. But they don't know much. At most they know that there is a complicated organization behind the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce." Shisui said slowly, "How is the expansion of our industry going?" Naruto asked again. "With the Fire Nation as the core, our industry has spread to the 5 major countries. We have bases in the 5 major ninja villages." The reason why it was so fast was that Shisui, under Naruto's signal, recruited many ordinary people to join the umbrella organization. Ordinary people can sometimes play an extraordinary role, which is also to prevent attracting the attention of ninjas. After all, Naruto's purpose now is just to make money. By the way, has the machine been manufactured yet? Naruto suddenly remembered something and asked. "Are you talking about the tilling machine?" "It has already started trial use, and the effect is very good, comparable to a genin who uses Earth Escape, and can well liberate productivity." Shisui showed a happy smile. The emergence of the tilling machine allows a farmer to easily plow several acres of land. After they developed the tilling machine, combined with the high-yield crops they developed, they no longer lack food and grass. Naruto and Shisui talked about the planning of Umbrella as they walked. Naruto is now using the image after the transformation technique. After all, his real appearance is really not easy to walk in the ninja world. Although not many people may recognize him. Naruto walked on the Land of Waves, which was completely different from what he had in his mind. The people walking on the street had happy smiles on their faces, and they would greet Shisui politely when they saw him. And Shisui also responded with a smile. Shisui and Naruto smiled at each other and said in unison, "One day, we will spread the glory of Umbrella to the entire ninja world." Naruto stopped talking and thought about what Shisui had said before. The Hidden Mist Village had targeted them, probably because of the previous large-scale fishing of seafood, which had attracted attention in this regard. After all, the Land of Water is a country surrounded by seawater, with rich marine resources, and it is not surprising that it mainly exports marine resources. It is reasonable to be targeted. Still too weak. Now in their umbrella organization, there is an estimated cage-level strongman and 3 elite jonin, namely Zabuza Momochi and Uchiha Yu, the instructor of the Uchiha family. It is worth mentioning that it was Uchiha Izumi who Naruto kidnapped, rescued. Uchiha Izumi is worthy of being able to easily open the 3 Magatama. After learning the news of the Uchiha clan's extermination, she actually opened the Mangekyo Sharingan on the spot. And her ability made Naruto was pleasantly surprised. The Uchiha's Sharingan is the eye of soul reflection, and almost everyone has different abilities to open the Mangekyo. For example, Uchiha Obito witnessed Rin's death, so he felt that this was a false world, and wanted to escape from this world, and then he created the powerful space eye technique Kamui. And Shisui wanted to urgently change the situation between Konoha and Uchiha, so he created the strongest illusion, Koto Amatsukami. The same is true for Uchiha Izumi. Her Mangekyo ability is because she couldn't believe that it was Uchiha Itachi who wiped out the Uchiha clan, so she created a super ability, which is to erase all attacks or negative influences from others. It doesn't sound good, but in fact, this ability is very useful. Because he can erase illusions, ninjutsu, and even the tailed beast balls of the tailed beasts. It can even erase a mountain. The more difficult something is to erase, the more chakra is needed. Theoretically, even Susanoo can be erased, but the consumption is very large. However, it cannot erase living things, otherwise it would be against the will of heaven. This is the ability of Uchiha Izumi's left eye, called Illusion of Nothingness. The ability of the right eye is to increase all attributes. Her idea at the time was that if she was strong enough, had enough chakra, and had strong ninjutsu, then she could beat Uchiha Itachi herself. Therefore, such an ability was derived, which could increase all attributes by 1 to 5 times. It requires the consumption of pupil power and chakra. This ability also made Naruto marvel. A good girl is developing into a warrior. With this ability, Naruto is also envious. All attributes are increased. If she is at the level of Kage. If it increases 5 times, it may reach the ceiling of Kage level. If it is used at the peak of Kage level, it may reach the level of Super Kage. In short, this ability is more abnormal as it gets stronger. Uchiha Izumi's previous strength was around the elite Chunin level. After awakening the Mangekyo, his chakra skyrocketed, and his strength also reached the quasi-Kage level. The reason why it is said to be at this level is mainly because Uchiha Izumi's previous combat experience was really rubbish. He didn't know many ninjutsu and only 2 or 3 illusions. He was able to reach the elite Chunin before because of the blessing of 3 Magatama. In the Uchiha family, those who can reach 3 Magatama are generally at the Jonin level. It is mainly because Uchiha Izumi is a member of the Uchiha marginal family. Even the people of the Uchiha family don't know that Uchiha Izumi has quietly opened the Sharingan to 3 Magatama. However, after being baptized by Naruto's ninjutsu library, his strength is also improving rapidly, and it is estimated that he will soon be able to enter the Kage level. If Uchiha Izumi completes the basics and achieves the level of Kage, then the Umbrella Organization will have 2 Kage level powerhouses and 2 elite Jonin. Add an Ice Shield bloodline Genkei, and Naruto, Sasuke, Neji and Rock Lee in the future will not be weak in strength. Shisui, speed up the process. I heard that there is a ninja village in the snow country. I think you can control the entire ninja village. The people in that country should have a good technology. Naruto said to Shisui. What Naruto said was the chakra armor used by the snow ninja in the original work, and the snow country is also a country suitable as a base camp. The industry there is well developed. In terms of speeding up the snowy weather, it is remote and difficult to attract the attention of other countries. Snow country. I heard there is such a place, and the ninja villages there seem to be established by the country. Shisui thought for a while and frowned. It seems that there really is such a country and ninja villages, but compared to Konoha, they are just small ninja villages. Is there what Naruto-kun needs there? Shisui, don't underestimate them. Although it's a small ninja village, the chakra armor technology is what we need. It's not perfect yet, but it's good as a base camp. After all, the land of waves is still too small. Naruto said with a shining look in his eyes. It is difficult to build defense facilities in the land of waves, but the land of snow is easy to defend and difficult to attack, with heavy snow all year round. Although it is a little remote, it is very suitable as a base camp. Shisui nodded and said, I'll pay attention to it. Shisui was also constantly thinking about what Naruto said. Since it was Naruto who said it, then this land of snow must be good for us. Although I don't know how Naruto knew it, for so long, he has regarded Naruto's words as an imperial decree. Naruto's identity has many secrets, which he has already known. What's more, everyone has some secrets, right? We should not give up on other small countries either. We should spend some time to control them and replace those daimyo with our people. Naruto has no good feelings towards the daimyo of this world. He doesn't know why the people in this world are particularly respectful to these nobles. Sometimes even the appointment of a village's shadow requires the consent of the daimyo. Except for the 5 major countries, other small ninja villages are not allowed to have the title of shadow. And the star shadow that appeared in the original work is overestimating his own strength. It is ridiculous to rely on one star to rival the 5 major countries. Shisui was shocked by Naruto's words. This is a daimyo. Although he is only the daimyo of a small country, although he has been washed by Naruto's thoughts before, it has not been implemented now because it is a shock to the aristocratic system for thousands of years. This makes it difficult for Shisui to accept. After all, the previous Uchiha was also an aristocratic class and was deeply influenced by the aristocratic class. That's the daimyo, isn't it a bit early? Shisui said. Naruto thought for a moment and said, that's right. Replacing the daimyo hastily may attract the attention of people around him, so let's use illusion to control him. Shisui, is this what I'm talking about? Naruto chuckled. Of course he knew what Shisui was thinking. Shisui, you have to know that sometimes the nobles are the culprits that cause the common people's lives to fall into despair. The world is so chaotic, and those in power have a lot to do with it. Some nobles collect taxes indiscriminately, occupy the land of civilians, and annex a large amount of land, causing the people to be displaced. Although the war in the ninja world is huge, it only covers the people in some areas. The lives of civilians in other places are not good. What we need to do is to spread the glory of the umbrella to the entire ninja world. You also hope that the people in other places can be as happy as the land of waves. There is a long way to go, Naruto said meaningfully, and Shisui looked at Naruto thoughtfully, with the light in his eyes shining brighter. Konoha Village. Hyuga Neji has been struggling these days. Naruto's words keep echoing in his mind, and every time they bring shock. Uzumaki Naruto, who looks about the same age as him, not only has strength far beyond ordinary people, but also has a more mature identity than his peers, and his identity also has an inexplicable temperament. There is no doubt that Naruto is not simple, coupled with his identity as the son of the 4th generation of Hokage. However, what Neji can't understand is why the top leaders don't announce Naruto's identity, but the legend of Naruto's demon fox is still circulating in the village. Although he doesn't pay much attention to this, Neji also knows the identity of Naruto's demon fox kid. Moreover, Naruto seems to have a lot of opinions about the village, and even knows that his father's death is related to the top leaders of Konoha. Does Naruto want to be a rebel ninja? Thinking of this, Neji's heart trembled instantly. Neji knew that when he learned about Naruto's identity, it meant that there was a gap between Naruto and Konoha. The identity of the son of a hero was actually called a demon fox that everyone wanted to beat. Neji touched the mark of the bird in the cage on his forehead. This is his shame and the cage that binds him. It is also a symbol of his resistance to fate. Uzumaki Naruto, can it really help me? Can fate really be controlled by myself? Ninki seemed a little confused. After a moment, Ninki strengthened his belief and murmured, I don't want to succumb to fate. Hyuga Neji slowly walked out of the room and began to walk towards the place where Naruto, Lee and Sasuke were training. Neji asked for leave today because this was the 3rd day as Naruto said. When Neji arrived at the training ground, Naruto and the other 2 were already there. Naruto and Sasuke used their shadow clones to skip classes, and Lee still used the name of Might Guy to skip classes. As soon as Neji approached, Naruto had already discovered Neji, but they did not stop. Sasuke quickly used fire escape to attack Lee, and Lee used physical skills to quickly dodge Lee's attack. Sasuke made a seal again. He knew that if he let Lee get close, he would probably be the one to fail. Lightning Release. Earth Walk. This is the lightning release ninjutsu that Sasuke learned from Naruto. The lightning release turned into an electric net and instantly paralyzed Lee. Sasuke squinted his eyes, revealing 2 pairs of red eyes, one with a 1 Magatama Sharingan and the other with a 2 Magatama Sharingan. He quickly formed seals with his hands, and a fire dragon instantly spit out of Sasuke's mouth. Seeing this, Lee's eyes shrank, and he jumped into the sky, continuously throwing out 6 styles. Reishukyu. Broken Sky. Sasuke's fire dragon was suppressed immediately, but Sasuke was still outputting, continuing to maintain the scale of the fire dragon. At the same time, one hand touched the ninja bag, and several kunai were thrown out immediately. Seeing this, Xiao Li had no choice but to dodge it with his shaving. The fire dragon immediately hit the ground, smashing a hole several meters deep. Throw out a few more kunai. The kunai flew towards Xiao Li with a cold light. Xiao Li immediately used the iron block to resist it. After several sounds of metal colliding, Sasuke's kunai was directly bounced away, and Xiao Li felt a burning pain in his body. His iron block has not been practiced to a high level. Stop it, Sasuke, said Naruto on the side. The two of them slowly stopped. Xiao Li walked to Sasuke's side and said with a little disappointment, I lost. You are already very strong, Sasuke said lightly. Looking at the somewhat disappointed Li, Naruto said, Li, you don't have to belittle yourself. Sasuke's strength is due to ninjutsu, not because his physical skills are inferior to ninjutsu. You are still young, and you have not reached the explosive stage of a ninja yet. When you get there, you will find that your physical skills will improve rapidly. The power will also become greater. After Naruto finished speaking, Sasuke nodded. Xiao Li's physical skills are not weak. If he is close to Sasuke, he can't beat him. Now he just relies on ninjutsu to deal with him. Sasuke has seen Naruto's physical skills. With a storm kick, he can easily break his Halong fire jutsu. Well, welcome our new partner, Naruto said with a smile. Xiao Li was also a little happy. Several people looked in the direction where Ninki came from. Ninki did not hide his figure when he came, so several people naturally found him. Ninki walked to the side of several people and looked at you. Sasuke took another look at the guy he thought was the last one, but the battle just now deeply shocked him. Rock Lee's physical skills were not inferior to his own, and it was a physical skill he had never seen before. Has he always been this strong? Ningji said in shock. He felt that the two people in front of him might be a little stronger than him. Then why do you look so weak in actual combat? Naruto did not answer, but Xiao Li spoke first. Naruto-kun said that as a ninja, how can you expose all your cards? Youth is to give a heavy blow to the enemy when he thinks you are no longer capable. Naruto, when did I say that? Although they were speechless, they could understand some truths from it. Naruto felt that it must be Might Guy who led them astray. I hope it's not the green tights from before. Naruto slowly stretched out his hand and said with a smile, Ningji, welcome to join us. I know you have a lot of doubts, and I will answer them all for you in the future. I believe that we will get along very happily. Neji hesitated and held Naruto's hand, looked at Naruto deeply and said, I want to know, what method do you have to free me from this curse? Neji untied the bandage on his forehead, revealing the mark of his hatred, which was the symbol of a bird in a cage, the green X symbol. Neji, you should know that since the bird in the cage is a seal composed of a sealing technique, if he can plant it, then he can naturally remove it. But the Zong family has no way to remove the seal of the caged bird. He once wanted to remove the seal of the caged bird, but there was no way to remove the seal of the caged bird except the method of planting it. The caged bird was developed by the Zong family for generations to prevent the white eye from being taken away. At that time, no one thought of removing the seal of the caged bird, so the method of removing the seal of the caged bird was not studied. I know, but as long as it is a sealing technique, it means there is hope of removing it. Since it is a technique, I believe that as long as there is enough attainment in sealing techniques, the seal of the caged bird can be removed. After listening to what Naruto said, Nechi felt a sense of loss. He naturally knew this truth, but who has such a high attainment in sealing techniques and is willing to help him study the way to remove the caged bird curse? Naruto saw Nechi's loss and said, just give me some time, I believe I can remove the caged bird curse. After that, Naruto performed several sealing techniques in front of Nechi. In Nechi's shocked eyes, Naruto said again, although there is no way now, but if you give me a few days, I will develop a technique to isolate the control of the clan members. Although this does not remove the caged bird, it is enough for you to get rid of the control of the clan members. This is something Naruto had thought about before and it is indeed feasible. With Naruto's current attainments in sealing techniques, plus the ability of God rewards hard work, it should not be a problem for him to research a method to isolate the curse seal in a short period of time. Perhaps it was Naruto's characteristics that touched Nechi, and Nechi said slowly, "How do you need me to cooperate with you?" "I need to investigate the structure of the bird seal in your cage and understand what type of seal it is before I can conduct a specialized study on it. But this requires your trust, because during the exploration process I can destroy your brain at any time and turn you into a vegetable." Naruto did not hide it, but told the hidden danger. Now Nechi hesitated. Is it really okay to put his life in Naruto's hands? If he has any bad intentions, then he will die without a burial place. Naruto saw Nechi's hesitation and didn't say anything. After all, if he put his life in the hands of others, he would also hesitate. After struggling for several times, Nechi shook his head and said in a deep voice, "I want to control my own destiny." Naruto smiled and said, "Thank you for your trust. But it's not safe here, come over tomorrow." Ningji nodded. He also knew that this was not something that could be done in one day. The next day, Naruto used the Earth-release nuclear submarine to bring Ningji to a depth of several dozen meters underground, which would make it easier for Naruto to study the caged bird. "Ready." Ningji took a deep breath and said, "Ready." Naruto slowly used his mental power to explore the caged bird seal. After seeing the caged bird in person, he felt that this sealing technique was really complicated. The caged bird is connected to the eyes and brain nerves of the person being cast, and can be controlled and the brain destroyed by the people of the main family. Hiss. Naruto took a breath of cold air. Although he had always known it, he still felt a chill after seeing it. The seal of the caged bird had penetrated deep into the soul. If he wanted to remove this technique, he had to study the soul. However, if the technique that made the main family control the caged bird seal invalid, he could still study it. In the next few days, Naruto began to study Neji's caged bird. There was a voice in Naruto's mind. Caged bird seal +3. Caged bird seal removal +1.05. Sealing technique +5. Naruto listened to the voice coming from his mind. The caged bird seal removal was only 1.05. Naruto suspected that the 0.05 was the proficiency given by his knowledge of sealing techniques, and the 1 was the effect of hard work. "It's really difficult," Naruto murmured, but he still showed a happy smile. God rewards hard work and brings Naruto a feeling of enlightenment. Sometimes it's not. Naruto just feels that his understanding of sealing techniques has risen a lot. A few days passed, and Naruto began to explore the curse seal of the bird in the cage almost frantically. The harvest was still remarkable. A week passed quickly. Looking at Naruto's red eyes, Neji knew that Naruto was very concerned about his own affairs. He couldn't help but feel that he would die for his confidant. "Ninki, although I haven't figured out a way to deal with the caged bird these days, I can free you from its control. But I can't do anything about your sealed perspective for now," Naruto said with a slightly regretful voice. "What, you already have a solution?" Neji seemed very shocked. Although he had discovered that Naruto had a high level of attainment in the art of sealing during these few days of contact, it shouldn't be so fast. However, no matter how much Neji thought about it, he couldn't figure out that Naruto was a man with a cheat. "Well, there are 2 methods in total. One is to activate the spell at the same time as the curse, and the other is for me to add a sealing technique for you again to isolate and control it." Naruto still didn't agree with the first method, because it was too troublesome to activate the spell at the same time as the main family's spell. It would be better to use a sealing technique to solve the problem once and for all. Both methods are similar to the principle of isolating signals. The sealing technique can cut off the connection between the two. In essence, it still exists, but it is blocked by the sealing technique. This creates a separation between the caged bird curse and the main family's spell. Therefore, it gets rid of the control of the main family. Naruto told Neji the difference between the 2 methods, and Neji chose the latter without hesitation. At the same time, he was so excited that he couldn't control himself. Although the curse of the caged bird was not completely solved, he would no longer be threatened with death by the caged bird. For the first time, he felt that his destiny was in his own hands. Neji said in a trembling voice, "Naruto, thank you." Looking at Neji, who was so excited that he was about to cry, Naruto patted his shoulder. "Next, let me cast another sealing technique on you. I will name it Flying Bird. This is also to hope that you can control your own destiny." Naruto said with a smile. And Neji was still trembling. Who could understand how excited he was at this moment? Calm down, Neji, Naruto reminded him, and Neji hurriedly sat down. After performing a few spells, Naruto tapped Neji's forehead, and a pain suddenly surged into his mind, which came and went quickly, and there was even a heat current surging in his mind. Soon, the original green mark had something else, and two slanted patterns appeared on the forehead, which looked like a pair of wings. Feeling the end of the spell, an unprecedented feeling floated into Neji's heart. He knew that he would never be threatened by the main family again. Thank you, Naruto. Ninki was so excited that he shed tears again. His face was full of joy, and with the tears on his face, it seemed a bit out of place. Ha ha ha. Neji, do you feel like you are in control of your own destiny? Destiny is always in your own hands. Naruto said the second half of the sentence with a slightly emotional voice. Okay, let's get out. Naruto clapped his hands, and after a slight shake, the two of them got out of the ground and walked out of the earthen hatch. He clapped his hands again, and the ground returned to its original state. Congratulations, Ninki. Seeing that Ningqi's forehead looked a little different, Xiaoli and Sasuke knew that Naruto's research must have been successful. Ninki nodded, and his excited expression had not yet dissipated. In the past few days, the two have also tested Ningqi's strength, and Sasuke has recognized Ningqi's existence. Ningqi's strength was cultivated by himself, which made the two have to admire him. Afterwards, Naruto also told Ninki about his own affairs, including some of Konoha's darkness and Naruto's red thoughts. Ninki, we will leave Konoha one day. I think you can win over those branch families. You can exempt the control of the caged bird, which is equivalent to releasing the caged bird. This will drive the people in the branch family crazy. I guess they will support you even if you want to seize power. Naruto said slowly, and told Neji all his ideas. Listening to the carefully planned plan, Neji felt admiration. Naruto was 1 year younger than himself, but he was mature when doing things. Neji lowered his head and pondered. Naruto's method sounded so reasonable, but why didn't he recommend implementing it immediately? As if seeing Nechi's doubts, Naruto said, it will take a few years for us to leave Konoha. There is no rush now. Let's improve our strength first. We can't rush the affairs of the branch family. In the days that followed, compared to the students of ordinary ninja schools, the training of several people was particularly hard. The strength of several people who had no shortage of ninja resources improved rapidly. On the other hand, Naruto had deliberately let Hatake Kakashi know about the darkness of Konoha. After he returned, he began to investigate secretly and found that things were not as simple as they seemed. First of all, his father was carrying out an S-level mission. It was impossible for a few people to know about such a mission. What's more, the whole Konoha knew about it, and under Kakashi's secret investigation, he actually found out that the one who carried out the mission with his father was actually a special Jonin of the Shimura family. A mere special Jonin, carrying out a mission with his father, wouldn't it be a drag? Later, he was the first to jump out and accuse his father. Kakashi felt that the whole thing was weird. He didn't think about it before, and he couldn't see through it when he was a child. Now looking back, the whole thing is not that simple. Was his father really calculated because he threatened the position of Hokage? In Kakashi's memory at that time, Konoha seemed to have won in the end, and the mission carried out by his father seemed to be to steal a confidential document. But the role of this confidential document doesn't seem to be that big. Kakashi has been studying the details of the 3 wars and important battle measures during this period of time. That confidential document didn't seem to play a big role. His father, a cage-level warrior, seemed to play a bigger role. Thinking of Naruto's conspiracy theory of Konoha's high-level officials, his will of fire that he had always insisted on began to waver. Hi, Kakashi, why do you seem listless recently? A figure patted Kakashi's shoulder. Kakashi turned around and saw a pale man with dark circles under his eyes standing in front of him. Oh, it's Hayate. I'm fine, but you've been distracted lately. Kakashi said this, and Moonlight Hayate's face instantly fell. I don't know when, Azuki Yugao's relationship with him became more and more distant, and recently she even asked him not to pester her. Hey, Senior Kakashi, I don't know why recently, Yugao. Hey. As if she didn't want to explain, Moonlight Gale sighed. Kakashi looked at Moonlight Gale and knew that he was trapped because of his feelings. He patted his shoulder and said, I can't help you with this. When it comes to feelings, just let it go. In the original work, Azuki Yugao and Moonlight Gale became lovers, but due to Naruto's intervention and the soul stealing, the impression of the caster would be left in the mind of the caster without knowing it. This led to Azuki Yugao always treating Naruto as the most important thing, and under the subtle influence, Azuki Yugao even weakened the relationship with Moonlight Gale. Even Naruto will replace Moonlight Gale in her heart. Even Naruto doesn't know about this matter. He probably just smiled when he knew it. After all, it is good for him. If Moonlight Gale knew it, he would probably cry without tears. Who did he provoke? A good marriage was messed up. Senior Kakashi, is there such a comforting thing? Gekko Hayate was about to cry. This was asking him to give up his love for Azuki Yugao. How could this be possible? He and Yugao were childhood sweethearts. Maybe Yugao was in a bad mood recently. She would definitely change her mind after a while. I can't comfort you about this kind of thing, Kakashi said slowly. Moonlight Gale glanced at Kakashi and said, that's right, after all, Senior Kakashi doesn't have a girlfriend either. Kakashi, are you polite? No girlfriend will eat your rice. Kakashi was ready to roll his eyes at the moonlight wind. Time passed quickly, and the annual competition for the top student undoubtedly fell into Sasuke's hands. As for Neji's level, he was still Neji's top student. Naruto and Rock Lee had no intention of showing off. After this time, there was a small vacation. This time, Naruto planned to take them to see blood. Only by seeing blood can one be a real ninja. In the ninja world, if you don't dare to kill even one person, what kind of person is that? What? See blood? You mean murder? Xiao Li said in surprise, and then calmed down. After all, living in this world, they were just a little surprised before. They had already accepted the idea of killing people, and now it was just in advance. Let Ningji and Sasuke use their shadow clones. As for Rock Lee, he and I are both orphans, so one day will not attract attention. You two are different. One is a genius boy from the Hyuga family, and the other is an orphan from the Uchiha family. Although no one will pay attention to you every day, it will be a bit troublesome if you are discovered. Naruto said softly. He had seen blood before, and he used a shadow clone. After all, it was not convenient for the main body to go out. At first, he felt a little uncomfortable, but later he got used to it. Even if blood splashed on his face, he just wiped it off gently. Oh, by the way, I have a gift for you guys, Naruto said to the three of them. Then he took out 3 rings. Naruto, what is this? The three looked at what Naruto took out with a little surprise. Naruto raised the corner of his mouth and said, this is a space ring, and it also represents your identity. It can bind your chakra. This is a space ring made by Naruto using chakra metal. The cost is much higher than that of a space scroll. And even the space inside is not as big as a space scroll, but the space scroll is too inconvenient to carry. Compared with the scroll, Naruto prefers the ring. After all, this one is more stylish. Although there is only 10 cubic meters of space inside, it is enough. These chakra metals were sent by Uchiha Shisui. Okay, let's go. Several people quickly followed Naruto and left Konoha from the hidden back mountain. Naruto's body stayed in the village. Naruto soon came to a contact point, which was the contact point for Shisui development. Lord Naruto. The one who received Naruto and his companions was a chunin, dressed in ordinary clothes and couldn't be seen as a ninja at all. He was also a person who was baptized by Naruto's red thoughts, and at this moment he was looking at Naruto fanatically. Naruto nodded and said, I remember your name is Hayakawa Kawai, right? Yes, Naruto-sama, Hayakawa Kawai said enthusiastically. Kawai, do you know if there are any bandits or something like that nearby? Bandits? Hayakawa Kawai thought for a moment and said, there are no bandits nearby. Most of the bandits around here have been defeated by us, but I heard that a few bandits have come to Shenkun Town recently. Shenkun Town. Give me the map. Yes. After Hayakawa Kawai handed the map to Naruto, he left. After Hayakawa Kawai left, Sasuke and others surrounded him. Naruto, what was that just now? The one just now is the force I cultivated outside. After all, if we want revenge in the future, it won't be enough just for us. Naruto explained. You still have power. Several people were very surprised. When did Naruto build up his power? Although they were a little surprised, they didn't ask any more. Naruto would tell them when the time came. Next, let's finish your training. Naruto shook the map in his hand. Naruto turned the map over and saw that the largest area in the middle was the territory of the Land of Fire. It must be said that the territory of the Land of Fire was really large, and it also occupied the richest areas. It was no wonder that other countries had always wanted to attack Konoha. Several people walked quickly on the road, and Naruto kept referring to the map as he moved forward. According to Kawai's information, the thieves should be active in this area. Naruto murmured, let's split up and try to find those guys. The group quickly separated, but Naruto left Xiao Li behind because he was afraid that Xiao Li's personality would disturb the thieves. Naruto had no good feelings towards these thieves, and many people had died in their hands. Have you investigated the situation clearly? Naruto asked. There were more than 40 thieves in that group. No one knew where they came from, but they all had a bloody smell. It was estimated that they had killed many people. With Neji's white eyes, they soon understood the situation of the thieves. Naruto waved his hand a few times and quickly assigned a good strategy. Remember, you must not be soft-hearted. Don't underestimate these guys who are on the edge of a knife. Naruto said softly. Several people nodded in succession. Isn't that what a ninja is? If you don't dare to kill people, then don't become a ninja. Not to mention revenge for your family. Action. With Naruto's order, the three of them immediately rushed out and headed towards the thieves' camp. Inside the thieves' camp, they had not yet realized that the crisis had quietly arrived. Drink, brothers, keep drinking, that woman was awesome last night. Deep inside the camp, a group of people were still drinking. Only a few were on duty, but they were just pretending. Ha ha ha, you know, our boss is a ninja. With the boss around, we can all eat delicious food and drink spicy drinks. Ha 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 ha, you're right, keep going. After we rob a few more villages, we will move to another place to prevent being targeted by ninjas. There was a lively scene all around. Sasuke and the others listened to the voices of these thieves, and murderous intent surged. These thieves deserved to be killed. Neji and Sasuke nodded, and then disappeared into the darkness at the same time. The two appeared on the left and right of the night watchman, and the kunai emitted a cold light and appeared on the necks of the two big men. Swish! A stream of blood spurted out, and the two men trembled slightly, and then picked up the kunai again. Resisting the uncomfortable feeling in their hearts, the two attacked the enemy again, and Xiao Li, on his side, began to fight with physical skills. The movement was a little louder. At the same time, the smell of blood immediately alerted the thieves' leader. Sniffing his nose, the thieves' leader shouted, "Enemy attack!" Hearing the boss's voice, the thieves were well trained and directly grasped the big swords beside them. The boss started to retreat at this time. Only ninjas could approach silently. He knew his own level. He was a genin at most. He got a ninja's tool bag by chance and became a ninja. The only ninjutsu he knew was the wind style, wind cutting. Nechi and Sasuke had already started to harvest at this moment. The thieves' boss also saw the appearance of the two people. For a moment, his tense heart relaxed a little, because the people in front of him were just a few children around 10 years old. Neji and Sasuke suppressed their nausea and continued to swing their kunai. At this time, they saw a big man slashing at them, with chakra fluctuations on his body. It turned out to be a ninja. The two looked at each other and decided to kill the ninja first. The speed of the two men soared again, and the sharp blades in their hands easily cut through the head of the thief boss, leaving only the thief boss's unbelievable eyes, probably dying with his eyes open. Soon, several people killed all the thieves around. After the killing, several people looked at the purgatory-like scene, and Neji and Sasuke couldn't help vomiting. On the contrary, Rock Lee was in a better condition. I don't know if it was because of his thick nerves. Good. Naruto's shadow clone appeared. This time he did not attack. It was the same for him the first time. He felt uncomfortable the first time. It's commendable to be able to achieve this level for the first time, but you still have a few flaws. You haven't shown your true strength at all, and your method of hiding your breath and body shape is too poor. If you were on the battlefield, I'm afraid you would be the first to die. Naruto was not wrong. Shisui taught Naruto a lot of battlefield knowledge and combat precautions. In addition to Naruto's personal practice, he is now very experienced. And they are indeed like a novice, but much better than most novices. Several people thought they performed well and could not help but feel a little proud. Unexpectedly, Naruto saw all sorts of loopholes. For a moment, their pride was also restrained. Naruto walked to the ninja boss. The blood on the ground and the broken limbs did not affect Naruto's steps at all. Looking at this boss who was dead, this ninja was obviously not an orthodox ninja. He must have accidentally come into contact with the chakra refining technique and became a ninja. Judging from his previous actions, his control over chakra was pitifully low. Use fire escape to bury them, Naruto said casually. If these bodies are not dealt with, they may cause plague. Then several people collected these bodies, and Sasuke used the Great Fireball technique to ignite them. The raging fire devoured the bodies of these thieves. In the next few days, apart from returning to Konoha, they began to hone their skills regularly. After a period of time, they had become qualified ninjas. You should first restrain your murderous aura. Wouldn't it be easy for people to suspect you if you go back to Konoha like this? Naruto frowned and said, the method of hiding murderous aura was taught in class. It is one of the necessary elements of ninja. It seems that I still can't put it into practice. I need to practice more. The land of waves. Naruto's side is not mentioned for now. On Shisui's side, Mai Terumi has already sent people to contact the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce. This also makes Shisui a little headache. Has he been noticed so quickly? And it's the shadow of the same village. Zabuza, do you think we should contact Mai Terumi now? I'm afraid they are here with bad intentions. Shisui glanced at Zabuza and said. In the meeting room, Zabuza sat upright in a chair. When he heard Uchiha Shisui calling him, he began to come back to his senses. The fifth Mizukage, Mai Terumi, this woman is not simple. Zabuza is naturally clear about this woman. This woman is only 1 year older than him. In terms of strength, Zabuza believes that he is definitely not as good as this woman. Regarding the fifth Mizukage, Mai Terumi, Zabuza also knows that this is a person who hates the blood mist policy as much as he does. The difference is that he is a civilian ninja, while Mai Terumi has family ninjas standing behind her, and she also has the support of the master. Although she is a woman, her own strength is also at the level of Kage, and she has 3 bloodline limits. A super ninja of Molten Release, Dissolve Release and Boil Release. Dissolve Release. It is a bloodline limit formed by the fusion of Water Attribute Chakra and Earth Attribute Chakra. It has super acidity. In the original work, it fights against Uchiha when he was in the state of Madara, he could even melt Susanoo. Molten Release. It is a bloodline limit formed by the fusion of Fire Attribute Chakra and Earth Attribute Chakra, which can create an effect similar to magma, with amazing lethality. And Boiling Release. It is a fusion of Fire Attribute Chakra and Water Attribute Chakra, which can create high-temperature steam. The Five Tails Jinchuriki Han of the Hidden Rock Village in the Land of Earth has this bloodline limit, so he is called a Steam Ninja. Not sure if there is one, because the Five Tails has the ability of Boiling Release, so it is set here. The lethality of Boiling Release is unquestionable. With a widespread range, relying on high-temperature water mist to kill, it can be called a harvester on the battlefield. It is a woman who is seriously underestimated in the original work. How is it not simple? Shisui asked curiously. Zabuza. It was not an easy thing for Mai Terumi to hold the position of Mizukage when the Kurigakure was in such a mess. Zabuza knew how chaotic the blood mist was at that time. Putting aside other things, Zabuza still admired this woman. However, in Zabuza's opinion, no matter how capable Mai Terumi was, she was not as good as Naruto. He once wanted to save the Land of Water and the Kurigakure. But now, he wants to accompany Naruto, Shisui and many like-minded people to build a truly peaceful and prosperous world. We can try to contact Mai Terumi and spread the industry completely in the Land of Water. Doesn't Mai Terumi want to get a piece of the pie? Then we will help her. Zabuza said coldly. Shisui also understood what Zabuza meant. Through the industry, he could infiltrate the Land of Water and become an indispensable part of the Land of Water and even the Hidden Mist Village. In Naruto's words, it was to fight an economic war. Ninjas also have families, and their families can become members of the peripheral organizations of the umbrella. Mei Terumi only wants a little money, just give it to her, and they can also tie her to their station car to form a community of interests. Qingyu, go and test the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce. Terumi Mei was dressed in a blue robe, with her bright red hair covering one eye tightly, her fiery red lips revealing a glow, and a layer of fishnets draped over her white thighs, making her look graceful and charming. Yes, an Anbu flashed and disappeared in the room. After the Anbu disappeared, Terumi Mei's lazy look disappeared instantly, and a deep brilliance appeared in her eyes. Let me see your details. The voice of Mei Terumi echoed in the room. At the headquarters of the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce, Qingyu, who was sent by Mei Terumi, was following the people sent by the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce. He saw that the people entered the headquarters of the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce. The next moment, the chakra fluctuations beside the river flashed by. Qingyu's figure also appeared in the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce. Boundary. Qingyu was a little surprised. Looking at the room in front of him, he didn't expect that a small barrier was set up in a station. At the same time, he couldn't help but have a headache. How could he get in like this? Half an hour passed, and Qingyu still hadn't found a way to enter the barrier. He could only hide and try to find out some information. In the dark night, the door slowly opened, and a figure appeared, then jumped directly onto the roof and disappeared. Qingyu moved slightly and followed. At this moment in the room, Zabuza slowly picked up the teacup and drank it all. A rat sneaked in. The figure who went out before was Uchiha Yu. He deliberately exposed himself in front of Qingyu. After deciding to contact Mei Terumi, Zabuza and Uchiha Yu rushed over, while Shisui stayed in the Land of Waves to coordinate the overall situation. There are still too few talents available. Qingyu followed Uchiha Yu to a wasteland. Suddenly, Uchiha Yu said directly, "Come out. You are sent by the 5th Mizukage." Qingyu was a little surprised. He was a member of the assassination team and his means of hiding his tracks were very sophisticated. Unexpectedly, he was still discovered. Qingyu did not speak, and quickly formed a hand seal with his hands. The hidden mist technique. Seeing the thickening fog, Uchiha Yu narrowed his eyes. Hidden mist technique. If it was before, it might be a bit troublesome if he didn't expose his Sharingan. Now, he learned the perception ninjutsu from Shisui and got it from Naruto. Slowly launching the ninjutsu, Qingyu's figure was immediately sensed clearly by Uchiha Yu. Fire style. Great fire extinguishment. A huge flame was released from Uchiha Yu's hands. It looked powerful, but it was totally different from what Madara-sama used during the Fourth World War. A huge flame smashed towards Qingyu. With endless power, the air around him became dry in an instant. Even the fog of the mist hidden technique was burned away a little. Qingyu's eyes condensed, and he didn't forget to make seals while being horrified. Water style. Water array wall. A water wall suddenly appeared, directly blocking Uchiha Yu's fire style. But he didn't relax, because the mist hidden technique didn't affect Uchiha Yu's actions at all. The shuriken was thrown out, and the sound of breaking through the air was directly formed. You can imagine how fast the speed is. At the same time, he drew out a short knife and chopped at Uchiha Yu. Uchiha Yu also pulled out a long sword, and the Uchiha-style swordsmanship easily swept the kunai away. The two collided with each other, and the swords colliding with small sparks. In a short period of time, the two collided dozens of times. Qingyu was more and more surprised. He was a rare elite Jonin-level existence, but he didn't expect that he couldn't hurt the other party at all. And the opponent's swordsmanship gave him a familiar feeling. It's just that I haven't thought about Uchiha yet. After all, everyone, as we all know, the Uchiha clan has been exterminated. Uchiha Yu's swordsmanship is his own style of swordsmanship based on the Uchiha style, which is why Qingyu feels familiar but does not know it. Who sent you? Uchiha Yu asked in a deep voice. Qingyu did not say anything and formed a seal again. Water style. Water cutting wave. A high-pressure water column suddenly hit Uchiha Yu. Water style. Water cutting wave is an advanced ninjutsu of water style, water random wave. It can form a high-pressure water column with a power so strong that it can cut steel. Uchiha kept rolling, and the ground was immediately cut into gullies. Fire style. Phoenix Claw Red. Dozens of shurikens flew out, and under the blessing of Uchiha Yu's ninjutsu, a flame shuriken wrapped in flames was formed, which had powerful attack power and cutting ability. Even if the flame was extinguished, the shuriken would still cause secondary damage. Looking at the ninjutsu that was shooting over, Qingyu's eyes condensed, and then he released the water array wall again, but it was a multiple water array wall. As soon as the two ninjutsu came into contact, Uchiha Yu's ninjutsu instantly penetrated the water array wall, but fortunately there were still a few people behind to resist, and the shurikens after extinguishing were still shot towards Qingyu. The shuriken hit Qingyu's body heavily, but at this moment Uchiha Yu did not have the slightest joy of success, but stared closely at Qingyu who was hit by the shuriken. The next moment, Qingyu's body suddenly turned into a pool of water and dissipated. A hint of appreciation appeared in Uchiha Yu's eyes. Water clone technique. Interesting. Qingyu's figure appeared again, and the two collided with each other, constantly approaching the water surface. Suddenly, Qingyu was smashed and flew out by Uchiha Yu. Qingyu's body fell on the water, but did not fall into the water, but stayed steadily on the water. Uchiha Yu raised a smile at the corner of his mouth. Approaching again, the sword in his hand suddenly turned into a series of afterimages and slashed towards Qingyu. In a hasty response, Qingyu only felt a powerful force coming, and the whole person flew out again, falling heavily into the water. He didn't expect that the ninja in front of him was not only superb in ninjutsu, but also very good in swordsmanship. His physical fitness is also better than his, which is not far from the quasi-shadow level. Little did he know that if Uchiha Yu opened the Sharingan, he would be a quasi-shadow level. Quasi-shadow is a title between the shadow level and the elite Jonin. It has a strength far beyond the average elite Jonin, but it has not reached the level of shadow. Feeling the pain from the tiger's mouth, Qingyu had no time to think, and jumped out of the water directly, shouting, "You've been fooled." Water prison technique. Suddenly, a stream of water enveloped Uchiha Yu's body, firmly imprisoning him, and at the same time, he clenched the short knife and wanted to pierce Uchiha Yu's entire body. Qingyu placed one hand on the water prison, and stabbed Uchiha Yu heavily with the other hand. Bang! A cloud of smoke appeared, and the shadow clone. A sense of crisis instantly came to his mind. Qingyu hurriedly pulled back, but at this moment, a voice sounded in Qingyu's ears, "Thunder escape earth walk." Not good. I wanted to use the instant body technique to escape, but the power of thunder escape has already acted on Qingyu's body. Instantly, a sense of paralysis came. "You were deliberately lured to the surface by me," Qingyu said in a lost voice, with a look of shock on his face. Uchiha Yu took advantage of Qingyu's paralysis and swung his sword directly. Qingyu closed his eyes in despair. But the end of imagination did not come. Uchiha Yu directly turned the sword horizontally, and the blade slapped Qingyu's body, directly slapping him onto the land, and then directly put the sword on Qingyu's neck. The cold blade seemed to make the neck feel deeply painful, and Qingyu could feel the sharpness on it. He looked at the man in front of him coldly. This man's strength was so strong that he had never heard of it in the ninja world. What Qingyu didn't know was that Uchiha Yu's strength was only raised in the past year, so naturally he didn't know. "I won't kill you." Before Qingyu recovered from his shock, Uchiha Yu said again, "Go back and tell the 5th Mizukage that our 7 Colors Chamber of Commerce is not so easy to control. I am just an ordinary member of the 7 Colors Chamber of Commerce. If she wants to touch us, she will pay a bloody price. You, the Hidden Mist Village, have just abolished the blood mist policy, so you don't want to be shrouded in blood again. If you want to cooperate, we welcome you. We need the power of Kurigakure, and you also need our power. This is a win-win situation, isn't it? If you want to talk, let the Mizukage come and talk in person." After saying that, Uchiha Yu disappeared directly on the spot, leaving Qingyu wondering what he was thinking. After coughing up a mouthful of blood, Qingyu felt much better. He felt that the man opposite him didn't seem to use his true strength, but this 7 Colors Chamber of Commerce didn't seem to be simple, so he could only go back and let Lord Mizukage make the decision in person. "You mean, there is a strong person behind the 7 Colors Chamber of Commerce?" Mei Terumi looked at the report from her subordinates. A ninja above the elite Jonin is not the person behind the scenes. Could it be that the 7 Colors Chamber of Commerce has a cage-level strongman? Which hidden village is he from? Or is he from the 5 major countries? Interesting. Back off. Yes. Qingyu left the Mizukage building, leaving only Terumi Mei thinking about something. Terumi Mei knew Qingyu's level. Qingyu was not his real name, but his title in the assassination team. Qingyu's real name was Kawashima Aoba. He had some blood of the Ghost Light family. He was actually beaten by the people of the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce, and according to Qingyu, it was the other party who let him back. Do you want to cooperate with her? What a big tone, she is the cage of a village. She would like to see carefully, what right does this so-called Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce behind the scenes have to talk to her like this? In this world, there are no more than 10 people who can talk to her like this. As a cage, Terumi Mei also has her own pride. Chapter 51. The Land of Waves. Shisui has learned that the 5th Mizukage made Terumi send ninjas to test them. After this test, Mei Terumi must have been quite afraid of their organization. In fact, when they were exposed to the eyes of the Kurigakure, he discussed with Naruto, and the result was to hide their organization under the Kurigakure, let the Kurigakure become the leader of the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce and they would hide behind the scenes. Let the Kurigakure attract the attention of other countries. In Naruto's words, it is to grow as low-key as possible in recent years. In a few years, it will be different. In a few years, Naruto will almost grow up. At the very least, he is a cage-level strongman. In addition, the Uchiha Little Beans before are also a group of people with outstanding talents. Now they can no longer be called Little Beans. They are older than Naruto and Sasuke. The oldest one has become a Jonin, and after a few years, he has almost grown up. However, the most important thing for Naruto is ideological education. Over the past period of time, the pride of being an Uchiha has been almost wiped out by the dozen or so Uchiha boys, and they have been branded with Naruto's red ideology. In the past, the entire Uchiha clan was proud of being an Uchiha, and some of them were even extremely proud. Naturally, these children have been infected with some of the Uchiha's arrogance. Fortunately, their values have not yet been completely formed, so it is still relatively easy to change them. Shisui, what do you think? Naruto said with a smile. Recently, Xiao Li has returned to Konoha. After all, he still has to practice with Might Guy during the holidays. He doesn't know the shadow clone technique like Naruto and the others. Also, Neji and Sasuke began to target some wandering ninjas. The thieves made them bleed, and now fighting with ninjas can increase their experience between life and death. However, Naruto still secretly sent clones to follow them to prevent encountering powerful ninjas due to emergencies. Shisui looked at Naruto and asked him, smiled lightly, and said, the purpose of the 5th Mizukage must be because we have threatened the people's livelihood in the land of water. At the same time, the huge profits of the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce also make the Mizukage jealous. Who wouldn't be jealous of such a big industry? Since she wants it, we will give it to her. In addition, we can also hire their ninjas. Since they are going to share some of the profits, they should also contribute, right? Then we can reveal that the Hidden Mist Village is the real mastermind behind the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce, and Mei Terumi will definitely not be able to refute it. After all, if the Hidden Mist Village is not the real controller, then it will definitely attract the covetousness of other hidden villages. So Mei Terumi will naturally bear this pressure. At the same time, with the participation of the Hidden Mist Village, one of the 5 major ninja villages, our Chamber of Commerce will develop better. Even if Mei Terumi says that the Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce is not theirs, how many people will believe it in the end? At the same time, we can use this opportunity to assimilate their ninjas. Ninjas are also human beings, and they naturally have 7 emotions and 6 desires. As long as our 7-colored Chamber of Commerce is good enough, I believe that even if the Mizukage wants to eliminate us, he will be hindered by the ninjas in the village. Listening to Shisui's talk, Naruto smiled with satisfaction. Now Shisui has become more and more like a general. He has also grown a lot. Well said, but you're still a little bit lacking in consideration. First of all, you have underestimated the madness of human nature. People are greedy. It is impossible for the Mizukage to withstand all the pressure. There are other families supporting the Mizukage, and other families will definitely want to get a piece of the pie. There are also the nobles and even daimyo behind the water country. It is impossible for them to leave a cash cow entirely in the hands of the Hidden Mist Village. The reason why they trust the ninjas is that they control the economic power of the ninjas, right? After years of development in this world, many ninjas have formed inherent concepts. Ninjas rely on mission bounties to make a living, and only those with poor family talents will be relegated to the family industry. After all, in this world, the strong are respected. The first thing you have to do is to control those nobles and make them give way to our Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce. At the same time, you have to secretly develop some hidden industries. It is impossible to put all of them in the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce. The most important thing is that we must take control of the dominance of food. Naruto spoke slowly, and Shisui looked at Naruto with brighter eyes. He thought he had grown a lot, but he was thinking too one-sidedly. Naruto changed the subject and continued, at the same time, we will open up an umbrella company, build a high-end brand, and focus on the aristocratic market. This industry must be firmly in our hands. The umbrella company's main industry is the cosmetics industry. That's right, cosmetics. In this world, cosmetics already exist, but the concept of brand is not strong. With the experience of the previous life, Naruto naturally knows how broad the prospects of the cosmetics industry are. Many female ninjas also use cosmetics. Not to mention those noble ladies and wives. In many cases, the development of ninjas will also be affected by these nobles. After all, there are more ordinary people. If the ninja village has military power, then these nobles will have political power. As the one country one village system of Senju Hashirama became widely spread, this system gradually became a system recognized by everyone. In this world, the concept of bloodline is extremely important, so the true essence of this world is a world where nobles are in power. One of the reasons why the Wind Country is the poorest is that the daimyo of the Wind Country gives the least military expenditure to the Sand Village, and even often cuts funding, and the Wind Shadow Luasha is angry but helpless. After all, after the defeat of the Wind Country, it has to pay the defeat funds to the daimyo of the Fire Country. The daimyo of the Wind Country naturally blames Luasha for this matter. In the Naruto world, the power of these nobles is definitely the ignored party. And because of his concept, Naruto will never be soft when pitting these nobles. Isn't there a kind of medical ninjutsu that can stimulate cell activity? We can use it to develop medicines that can keep women young and beautiful, and even stimulate human cells to look a few years younger. Although this effect can be achieved using herbs, we can make a cut-down version that requires continuous use of our products to achieve this effect, so that we can continue to attract customers to consume. Naruto proposed the idea again. At this time, Shisui frowned. He didn't think many people would buy the cosmetics that Naruto mentioned. To look a little younger and more beautiful, you have to spend expensive money in exchange for a period of beauty. Will anyone really pay for it? Naruto-kun, will anyone really buy this cosmetic that has almost no effect? Quote. Shisui said hesitantly. Naruto smiled and said, Shisui, you underestimate the importance women place on their appearance. Naruto looked at Shisui's puzzled expression and said, look, aren't there a lot of women around us buying lipsticks, eyeshadows and the like? Uchiha Shisui, are there? Looking at Shisui's dull look, Naruto's face was dark. Okay, a straight man. Shisui probably spends most of his time either on the way to practice or on the way to practice, so how could he pay attention to these things? Naruto patted Shisui's shoulder and said, Shisui, it's time for you to find a wife. Shisui, what does this have to do with me finding a wife? In short, you have to remember that cosmetics that can keep people young are absolutely unique in the ninja world. After all, no ninja has used chakra to study this technology. Of course, Tsunade doesn't count. After all, their technology is not comparable to Tsunade's. They just use some medicinal herbs and chakra principles to study a cosmetic that consumes money and is not very useful to ninjas. In this world, Naruto thinks it is very easy to develop a cosmetic that is better than the one on Earth. Never underestimate the power of the extraordinary world. After all, with Tsunade's previous experience, Naruto thinks it is too easy to develop a product that is weakened to the point where it cannot be weakened any further. For example, Naruto can now maintain a short-term youth by stimulating cells, but this may consume the lifespan of the human body, so it is necessary to use medicinal herbs to achieve a weakening effect. With a little research, there should be no problem. Okay, I'll look into it later. Although it was a little incomprehensible, Shisui still resolutely carried out Naruto's orders. He felt that as long as it was Naruto who said it, there should be no problem. After all, Naruto is the savior of the world. Who among us is going to contact the Mizukage? The topic returned to the Mizukage. Naruto lowered his head and thought for a while before saying, I don't think it's possible. There is a guy named Ao next to the Mizukage, Mei Terumi. He has the Byakugan of the Hyuga family and can see through my identity as a Jinchuriki. As for you, you have already frightened the Kurigakure ninjas in the 3 wars, and your chakra has probably been recorded. If you go, it will easily expose your identity. Zabuza is even worse, as he is from the Kurigakure village. It would be better to let you go, as he can already handle things on his own. Shisui thought carefully about what Naruto said, nodded, and said, you is indeed a good guy, and he is more mature, but his strength is a little bit weaker. However, as long as he doesn't encounter a cage-level strongman, there will be no problem. It's a pity that this girl Quan hasn't fully grown up yet. Otherwise, she could be a great person. Uchiha Quan's talent is not bad, but it's a pity that her previous foundation was too poor, otherwise she would have become a strong person among the cage level in a short time. Once Susanoo is activated, she is almost at the level of the cage of a village. Coupled with the power of the Mangekyo, it is simply terrifying. Uchiha Sasuke and Hyuga Neji have returned to school. Their training this time is almost over. The 2 of them are completely different from before. There is a big difference between ninjas who have killed people and ninjas who have not killed people. The 2 of them now can give people a sense of oppression just by standing there. Time flies. Mei Terumi also began to formally contact the 7 Colors Chamber of Commerce. When they arrived at the place agreed by both parties, Mei Terumi couldn't help but get angry. Is this how you treat guests? Mei Terumi said angrily. Because the person sent by the 7 Colors Chamber of Commerce was actually Uchiha Yu, she felt that she was looked down upon. Uchiha Yu smiled lightly and said, Lord Mizukage, don't be angry, we come here with sincerity. Haha, this is your sincerity, why doesn't your leader come out and talk to me in detail? Mr. Mizukage, we are talking about business, aren't we? Harmony brings wealth. Uchiha Yu said with a smile, implicitly reminding Terumi Mei not to ruin the purpose of both parties because of this matter. HMPH. Then we'll see if you have the strength to cooperate with me. Mei Terumi said coldly, and the chakra on her body fluctuated violently. Uchiha Yu also showed helplessness on his face, and said, sure enough, we still have to fight. Izumi. Then Uchiha Yu directly pulled out the sword behind him, and beside him was Uchiha Izumi. For this situation, it was also within the consideration of Naruto and Shisui. Sometimes, only when the strength is equal can you sit down and talk. So Izumi was placed next to Uchiha Yu as a guard. At this moment, the girl was wearing a mask. The eyes of the mask were not empty, but made of anti-peep glass, which could prevent Uchiha Izumi's Sharingan from being exposed. Boiling release. Skillful mist technique. Mei Terumi directly spit out a large cloud of acid mist, which is extremely corrosive. The 2 of them each grabbed the ninjas beside them and retreated, saying, leave here, this is no longer something you can participate in. Yes, sir. They left the scene without delay. They knew that this was no longer a battle they could participate in. At the same time, they were very grateful for the help of Uchiha Izumi and Uchiha Yu. After they left, Izumi's 3 Magatama turned, and the Mangekyo was revealed, but there was no change in the eyes of others. The 2 of them worked together to use water escape to offset the surrounding acid mist. This area is the land of water, with abundant water elements, so it is not difficult to use water escape ninjutsu. But what the other 2 did not expect was that the combined water escape of the 2 did not offset the boiling escape of Terumi Mei, so the 2 had to use a water escape ninjutsu again. Oh, you have some skills. Try this trick. Dissolving style. Dissolving monster technique. Terumi Mei once again sprayed out a highly corrosive liquid. This time, it was not something that could be easily broken by water style. Uchiha Yu suddenly felt a sense of pressure. As expected of a ninja who bears the title of Shadow. Fire style. Great Dragon Fire technique. He wanted to evaporate the acid of Mei Terumi, but when the fire style hit it, it only had a slight effect, which was not a big deal at all. Leave it to me. The Mangekyo pupil technique was activated, and an illusion of nothingness appeared. Mei Terumi's ninjutsu actually disappeared directly. What kind of ability is this? Terumi Mei was instantly horrified. Her ninjutsu was silently disappeared. What did they do? She looked at Uchiha Izumi with horror, and a deep fear appeared in her eyes. Water style. Water tornado. Quan attacked again, and her pupil technique was quietly activated, but it was not an illusion, but an amplification of all attributes. She tripled all attributes. With the blessing of the pupil technique, Quan's water style power suddenly approached beyond grade A. Molten release. Burning stream technique. Mei Terumi formed a seal once again, and a hot liquid-like magma spurted out of her mouth. Fire style. Fire dragon flame bullet. With the blessing of the pupil technique, the power of Izumi's ninjutsu doubled. He flew towards Terumi Mei. Just when Terumi Mei thought that the two attacks would collide, his lava style disappeared again, and a huge fire style came towards him. In a hurry, Terumi Mei only used water style, water array wall for defense, but no matter how powerful the sea-level ninjutsu was, how could it block Izumi's attack? Terumi Mei's figure quickly retreated. From the outbreak of conflict to the loss, it happened in a flash. Terumi Mei looked at Uchiha Izumi with fear, not knowing what ability he and Uchiha Izumi used. Uchiha Yu on the side looked at Izumi with envy. This is the power of the Mangekyo. Without understanding, the Mizukage suffered a loss. When can I awaken my own Mangekyo? Mei Terumi looked at the girl in front of her. It was obvious that the girl in front of her was not very old, maybe about 15 or 16 years old. Her immature figure was fully revealed under her black combat uniform. Her face was covered by a mask under her black hair. Her face could not be seen clearly, which highlighted her mysterious temperament. What made Mei Terumi particularly afraid was the strange ability of the girl in front of her. Unknowingly, she could make her attack seem as if it had never happened. Is it a new blood limit? Before she fully understood Izumi's ability, Mei Terumi did not dare to attack at will. Just now was a lesson for her. Moreover, the opponent's ninjutsu was surprisingly powerful. Although she was not very old, her chakra was not small. Izumi was also looking at the charming woman in front of him. Compared with the woman in front of him, he was an immature apple, and Mei Terumi was a ripe peach. With every swing and movement, she showed the style of a mature queen. The swaying papaya in front of her made most women ashamed. Moreover, the other party was the shadow of a village. As a woman, she became the supreme ruler of a village and had 3 blood limits. What a remarkable woman. The two women looked at each other. Mei Terumi had no intention of continuing to fight. She had recognized Izumi's strength. The power behind this organization, which could train such a young strong man, also made Mei Terumi terrified. It's really not that simple, isn't it? Mei Terumi murmured, licking her charming lips. Can we sit down and talk? Izumi's cold voice came from under the mask. Ever since she learned that Uchiha Itachi had teamed up with Konoha to kill the entire clan, her temperament has become even colder. Oh, haha, since you have such strong strength, you naturally have the ability to cooperate. Terumi Mei said with a slight smile. Uchiha Yu on the side nodded to Quan, then stepped forward and said, Lord Mizukage's welcome ceremony is really not simple. Listening to Uchiha Yu's slightly playful voice, Terumi Mei's face did not change at all, as if it was not her who had taken action before. Lord Mizukage, we all know the purpose of this time, so let's not waste words. This is our plan, you can take a look. Uchiha Yu handed the document he brought with him to Terumi Mei's hand, and Quan had been staring at Terumi Mei's movements to prevent her from doing anything. Terumi Mei took it and looked at it carefully with her beautiful eyes, frowning from time to time, obviously dissatisfied with the content above. After reading the entire plan, Terumi Mei said without hesitation, you want our Kurigakure ninjas to act as guards, and cooperate with the Chamber of Commerce to pass, and spend resources to promote the Chamber of Commerce, and at the same time provide jobs for the villagers of Kurigakure village, and retired ninjas can also work. This is the plan formulated by Naruto. In general, it seems that Kurigakure still has the upper hand. It only needs Kurigakure to act as guards and make some concessions on resources, and it can also provide jobs for ordinary people in the village. There are also a series of benefits and some cooperation matters. Terumi Mei is generally satisfied, but what the hell is the 30 to 70 split? Overall, I am very satisfied, but isn't it too much that you account for 70%? Mei Terumi raised her beautiful eyes, and a faint aura emanated from her. Want to have priority mining rights. Tax exemption is fine, but the mineral vein is the lifeblood of a village. To be discussed. Mizukage is wrong. Since it's a business, we can talk about it. If you are not satisfied, we can talk about it. Uchiha Yu said with a smile. He got Naruto's explanation when he came here. This plan is indeed a bit unfair. But, business, of course, can be discussed. Very good. I think we can discuss the share. We are a big family in Kurigakure, so I think 70% is not too much. Terumi Mei said in a deep voice. Hiss, you are really a lion with a big mouth. Uchiha Yu got angry for a moment, then Naruto's words appeared in his mind, and his restless heart began to calm down. Ha ha ha, Mizukage is joking. Our organization is also big and has many people to support. After all, sales depend on us. You guys are just contributing some effort. So there are 4 of you and 6 of us, what do you think? Uchiha Yu said with a laugh, his words were sharp. You see, the contract says that sometimes we can hire ninjas from the Hidden Mist Village, and sometimes they can act as guards. After all, the Hidden Mist Village is a big village with many villagers. At the same time, we also provide convenience. There are so many miscellaneous things. So I think 60% can't be any less. Mei Terumi was like a fox at this moment, not giving in at all. Stop. 50%. Let's both take a step back. 50%, no more. After all, it is you who want to seek cooperation. If you don't cooperate, we can still find other big countries to cooperate with. You Kurigakure should have wanted to rest and recuperate in the past 2 years. With our help, you may be able to catch up with other big countries. Uchiha Yu said again, full of the meaning that he could not be refused. You, very good, I agree. Mei Terumi was a little angry, but what she said was true. Without Kurigakure, there are Sand Village, and Iwagakure and the like. In fact, Naruto is more inclined to cooperate with Mei Terumi. Konoha has Danzo, and Danzo will definitely make trouble. The Raikage of the Land of Lightning is also a hot-tempered one. With his personality, he will definitely hold the 7-colored Chamber of Commerce in his hands. The Iwagakure is developing better and is not very dependent on the 7-colored Chamber of Commerce. The Wind Country is too poor. Wouldn't it be a loss to cooperate with the Wind Country? And Mei Terumi is a very good candidate. She has just stabilized and wants to develop the village. She is a woman and is constrained by various families. What? More, the Water Country is relatively closed and rich in aquatic products. In any case, it is a place suitable for the development of the 7-colored Chamber of Commerce. At the same time, Kurigakure can be put on the surface to help the umbrella organization resist lightning. It can also slowly win the hearts of the people in Kurigakure village and recruit Kurigakure ninjas to work for it. It is simply killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Very good. Happy cooperation. Lord Mizukage. Uchiha Yu showed a fox-like smile. The people in the ninja world are not as good as Naruto in thinking about business wars. Terumi Mei looks a little angry on the surface, but in fact, she is already very happy in her heart. In her opinion, she made money. After all, the 7 Colors Chamber of Commerce still has to recruit people from their village to work, and at the same time relieve their pressure on retired ninjas. At the same time, they don't even have to be responsible for sales, they are responsible for guarding, which is something that ninjas are naturally good at. After all, after the cooperation, this is also their industry, isn't it, so it's natural to protect it well. And the hired ninjas will also be given commissions according to the contract. Terumi Mei thinks she is making a lot of money, and at the same time, Uchiha Yu also thinks they are making a lot of money. After being influenced by some of Naruto's business thinking and ideas, Uchiha Yu has also become a qualified businessman. The 2 foxes looked at each other and said, "Happy cooperation." "You, well done," Naruto said happily while looking at Yu. Uchiha Yu on the side showed a fanatical look. Of course, Izumi's performance is also good. Naruto looked at the cold Uchiha Izumi next to him. He knew that the girl in front of him was eager to be encouraged. Sure enough, after receiving Naruto's praise, Izumi's mouth curled up slightly with a smile. Very good. With the help of the Kurigakure, we will definitely grow faster. Shisui also said with a smile. Naruto looked out the window. Reinforced concrete houses have gradually replaced the original wooden houses. The ninja world has begun the Industrial Revolution, but some places are still lagging behind. In the future, the development of industry will be more developed, and even Konoha will gradually erect high-rise buildings. The Hidden Thunder Village also has a powerful chakra cannon. If we want to say that the place with more complete industrialization now should be the Rain Country ruled by Nagato or Pain. But speaking of it, the ninja world has developed to this extent, even simple computers have been formed, but there are no developed means of transportation, let alone airplanes that can fly into the sky. Some places are still carriages. It's really a wonderful world. This made Naruto exclaim that it was magical. According to Naruto's memory, there should be trains in the snow country now. Maybe we can build an airplane to play with in the future. After all, although the travel speed of ninjas is fast, it is still not faster than airplanes. Or in the future, we can develop time and space ninjutsu and directly teleport in space. Wouldn't I be able to dominate the ninja world at will by then? Of course, imagination is beautiful, and Naruto naturally knows that it will take a long time to develop to that level. Speaking of which, there are still many people in the ninja world who are engaged in scientific research, such as Orochimaru. Although Orochimaru is very good at biological knowledge, it is shown in the original work that Orochimaru's attainments in mechanics are also not shallow. He even developed a mechanical Naruto. The air ninja that appeared in the original work also has relatively strong technological strength. There is also Orochimaru and Jiraiya's classmate Hiriko, who is also a very strong guy in biology. In general, the guys in the ninja world are still very smart. Naruto's dream of the stars and the sea may not be impossible to realize. Naruto has not thought about cooperating with Orochimaru, but Orochimaru will be eaten without absolute strength without even a bone left. Now is not the time. Maybe when he leaves Konoha, he can talk to Orochimaru. The same is true for the other few people. When they don't have absolute strength, Naruto doesn't plan to find them. Konoha Village. At this moment, Nara Shikamaru is playing shogi with his old man. Although Shikamaru is very young, he has shown enough wisdom. But he is a little too lazy. Shikamaru, how are you doing in the ninja school recently? Shikamaru's father, Nara Shikaku, suddenly asked. Hey, you want to disturb me? I won't be fooled. No longer the lazy look of the past, Shikamaru now looks energetic. There is no other way, facing his own old man, he can't help but concentrate. It's okay, a little boring, but there are a few interesting classmates. Although Shikamaru said this, he still answered the question of his old man. This time, Shikaku was a little surprised. Who could arouse such great interest in his son? Oh, is it the orphan of the Uchiha family? Shikaku asked curiously. Although Uchiha Sasuke is a genius, it's not him. It's Uzumaki Naruto. Shikamaru said slowly, and his hands were not idle. He put down the chess pieces in his hand directly, forming a pincer attack. Shikaku slowly twisted the chess pieces in his hand, and gently put them down. The clamp formed by Shikamaru actually collapsed, forming a counter-encirclement. After a few moves, Shikamaru was powerless to turn the tide. I lost. Shikamaru put down the chess piece and said weakly. Is there anything strange about Uzumaki Naruto recently? Shikaku asked curiously. Although Uzumaki Naruto is not the strongest in the class, he has been very close to Uchiha Sasuke since the Uchiha clan was exterminated, and they all used shadow clones to go to school some time ago. Unconsciously, Uchiha Sasuke would show respect for Naruto, and between the two, Uzumaki Naruto was the main one. Shikamaru told Shikaku everything he saw. Hearing Shikamaru's words, Shikaku couldn't help but ponder. Uzumaki Naruto. Murmuring, Shikaku's memories could not help but drift back to the past, that sunny guy and that bright red hair figure. Minato, do you have any backup plan? Shikaku murmured. Father, what did you say? Shikamaru didn't quite hear. Nothing. Shikamaru, do you know his identity? Shikamaru immediately regained his composure. Could he be the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki? Shikamaru combined what he heard with the rumors about Naruto the demon fox in the village and said thoughtfully. Yes, that's right, He is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. Don't underestimate his potential. Every Nine-Tails Jinchuriki is an absolute powerhouse. Shikaku still didn't tell Shikamaru Naruto's true identity. Although the third Hokage did not disclose Naruto's identity, as Konoha's military strategist, Konoha's think tank level existence. How could he not guess Naruto's identity? Yellow hair, Naruto's sky blue eyes. And there is Naruto's last name, Uzumaki. Born during the Nine-Tails Rebellion, who else but the fourth Hokage and the orphan of Uzumaki Kushina? As a friend of Minato, Shikaku has always felt a little guilty. Their Ino, Shikaku and Cho clans didn't dare to contact Naruto at all. They were afraid of arousing the suspicion of the third Hokage and Danzo. Little did they know that there were only 2 people left in the Uchiha clan. Shikaku didn't know that Naruto secretly saved some of the Uchiha people. Is that so? Shikamaru looked at the complicated expression on his father's face. He knew that Naruto might not be just the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, but he was smart and didn't ask any more questions. He knew his father would not tell him and he must have his reasons. Okay, Shikamaru, go and have a rest. After issuing the order to expel the guests, Shikamaru left, leaving Shikaku who was not sure what he was thinking about. In the early morning of the rising sun, Shikamaru rarely looked through the family records about the history of the ninja world, especially the information about the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. When he saw that the first generation of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki was the wife of the first generation of Hokage, he showed a surprised expression, and he also understood the horror of the tailed beast from a few words. And when he saw that the second generation of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki was actually the wife of the fourth generation of Hokage, Shikamaru was slightly shocked again. And the surnames of the first and second generations of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki are both Uzumaki. For a moment, Shikamaru seemed to understand something. The fourth generation of Hokage died in the Nine-Tails Rebellion, and the fourth generation of Hokage's wife Uzumaki Kushina also died in the Nine-Tails Rebellion. And this term of the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki is named Uzumaki Naruto. Shikamaru quickly put the books he was reading back to their original place, and his mood could not calm down for a long time. The new semester started again, and Sasuke and Neji returned to school again, as if everything had returned to normal. Naruto began to tease Hinata as usual. He didn't know if it was his illusion, but he always felt that Shikamaru would look at him from time to time. Could it be? This guy is gay. Impossible. Impossible. Naruto quickly threw this unrealistic idea out of his mind. Even if Shikamaru was gay, he shouldn't have any idea about him. Sasuke is so handsome, he should go to Sasuke. Achoo. Achoo. Shikamaru sneezed twice and touched his nose. He didn't know that his image in Naruto's mind had changed. As the school bell rang, the classmates cheered happily. The time in the ninja school was not very long. The time left was actually the time for them to exercise themselves. How much they could achieve actually depended on themselves. Like the children of ordinary families, they would receive family training after returning. The larger the family, the more strict it was, and they would be more aware of the cruelty of the ninja world. This was particularly obvious in the Hyuga family. Basically, during the holidays, the families in Konoha would train their descendants in the family secrets. Children from ordinary villages, however, did not have the same awareness as the big families, and therefore there was a huge difference between family ninjas and ordinary ninjas. Ino, I heard that a new store called Seven Colors Department Store has opened in Konoha recently, and there are many good things in it. Let's go and have a look. Sakura should have fallen out with Ino at this time, but because of Naruto's butterfly effect, Sakura did not fall out with Ino now. And Naruto felt that Ino did not seem to like Sasuke as much as Sakura. What Naruto didn't know was that in Ino's perspective, she would always look at Naruto inadvertently. Naruto was no longer the last one. With the training of physical skills, his body was extremely strong and the whole person was a lot sunnier. In Ino's eyes, Naruto was mysterious and very handsome. Therefore, the thought of Sasuke faded a bit, and more attention was paid to Naruto's identity, but Naruto didn't know it. And because of the relationship between Naruto and Hinata, Ino also hid his little thoughts. Ino listened to Sakura calling herself, and came back to her senses in a trance, stunned for a moment. Well. Naruto-kun. I want to go too. Hinata pulled Naruto's clothes. Her father had finally given her a few days off. She also heard about the recently popular Seven Colors shopping mall. She really wanted to go shopping with Naruto. Naruto was a little surprised. This was the first time Hinata invited him. Naruto smiled softly, touched Hinata's little head, and said, "Okay. I'll take you there." He turned to Sasuke and said, "Sasuke, I won't go to the practice today. You can practice with Neji and the others." Sasuke was speechless. He really forgot his brothers after getting a wife. With the current relationship between Naruto and Hinata, it's basically just a matter of verbal confirmation, otherwise anyone can see the relationship between the two. And that seven-colored shopping mall, isn't it Naruto's own business? I didn't expect it to be so famous in Konoha. Since cooperating with Mizukage Terumime, the expansion speed of the seven-colored Chamber of Commerce has become faster and faster. With the Mizukage as a brand, the business is smooth all the way. As for those envious nobles, Shisui secretly used illusions to solve them. He even helped Naruto and his team expand their business. A group of people were walking on the road. Shikamaru drooped his eyes. He was pulled here by Ino, and the words of passers-by along the way reached the ears of several people. "This newly opened shopping mall is really grand. I heard that he was secretly supported by a noble lord. I also said that this is the daimyo's industry. What do you know? I have a relative who works there. He said that even a famous person wouldn't dare to offend the owner of the Seven Colors shopping mall. He is a truly scary person. Old man Musashi, why have I never heard that you have such an awesome relative? A distant relative, my nephew's wife's sister's husband's brother-in-law." Quote. Naruto was speechless after hearing these conversations. Rumors are really scary. Several people continued to walk on the road. Sasuke was not interested in these things and left directly. Isn't this Naruto's work? Going shopping in the mall is not as good as practicing. But when Naruto walked by, there were always a few villagers who looked at him strangely, but maybe because Naruto has grown up a lot in these years, these villagers did not dare to be too presumptuous. After all, Naruto now has the power of a ninja. Walking into the commercial street, everyone soon saw a very lively place, that is, the newly opened Seven Colors shopping mall. There are a full range of products in it, which are classified into categories. Generally speaking, it has its own characteristics. Several people walked in and saw that not far from the entrance, there was a place selling clothes. There were many kinds of clothes, and there were many clothes that had never been in the ninja world. They were designed by Naruto with reference to the style of his previous life in the ninja world. Very popular with ladies and young ladies. Sakura and Ino chattered and went forward to try on clothes. "Wow, this dress is so beautiful." The dress that Sakura liked had a cherry blossom pattern on it. The pink dress showed off her figure perfectly. It was a cheongsam suitable for little girls. Ino liked a light blue dress, also a cheongsam. The pattern on it made the girl intoxicated. "Salesperson, how much is this dress?" Sakura said to the salesperson excitedly. "Hello, beautiful lady, this dress costs 1888 taels," said the shopping guide with a smile. "Ah, it's so expensive," Sakura said a little disappointed. The currency in the Naruto world is mainly tael, and one tael is almost equal to 10 yuan, of course, in Japanese yen. This means that the price of this dress is 18,880 yuan. Although Sakura comes from a ninja family, she is just an ordinary ninja. Sakura's pocket money can't afford such expensive clothes. If calculated according to the Chinese currency of Naruto's previous life, it would be less than 1,000 yuan. The author checked the exchange rate online. It may not be very accurate, please forgive me, just said it like this. At this time, Ino came over and said, "See how much my clothes are." The shopping guide also smiled and said, "Your clothes are 2,188 taels. Bought it. Pack that one too," Ino said generously, and at the same time ordered to pack up the dress that Sakura liked as well. "Ino, I can't have it." Sakura refused. Although she liked the dress very much, she knew that it was not okay to ask Ino to pay for it. Before she could continue, Ino blocked Sakura's mouth. "Needless to say, you should know that this little money is nothing to me. When you become a ninja, you can make money and pay me back." Listening to Ino's sincere voice, Sakura showed a touching look. She knew that Ino was just saying that on purpose. In fact, she would never let her pay it back. Naruto looked at the blonde girl in front of him who had the words, "I'm rich," written all over her face, and couldn't help but curl up the corners of his mouth. She was sending him money. Suddenly, Naruto saw Hinata's eager eyes and said, "What's wrong? Do you want it too?" Before Hinata could answer, Naruto took Hinata's hand and went to choose clothes, while Hinata's face turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. "Naruto-kun, someone is watching here." Looking at Hinata shyly, Naruto couldn't help but grin at Hinata's shy look. "Is it okay when there's no one around?" "Ah, you can't do that when no one is around." Hinata's voice was getting smaller and smaller. Naruto knew he couldn't tease her anymore, or Hinata would faint right here. While a few people were strolling around happily, Konoha F4 had already started a meeting in the Hokage's office. Hiruzen, recently, this mysterious Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce has begun to be established in the 5 major countries. I think it is very likely a conspiracy of others. Take a look at this document. Danzo was wrapped in bandages, with only one eye exposed, looking gloomy and terrifying. If the few people present were not all familiar with Danzo's current appearance, ordinary people would have been restless when they saw Danzo. The third-generation Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen flipped through the documents that Danzo took out. The Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce suddenly opened in many countries within a month. It is suspected that someone supported it. At the same time, the special sales method and products of the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce are widely loved by the people. Not only that, the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce has long begun to develop in various countries. For example, there is a Seven Colors restaurant in their village. What surprised Sarutobi Hiruzen was the profit of the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce investigated by Danzo. Although it may not be accurate, the huge benefits above make him feel a little excited. He couldn't help but glance at Danzo. Danzo might be jealous of the huge profits earned by the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce. It's just the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce. What conspiracy can there be? It's just a businessman. In this world, only power and strength are the most important. Hiruzen, you have also seen that the Seven Colored Chamber of Commerce not only sells various products, but also weapons and equipment. What does he want to do? He definitely has a conspiracy. I think we must find out who is behind it. Danzo's dull voice came, with a hint of desire in his tone. Yuan Fei Hiruzen handed the document in his hand to Utane Kaharu and Mito Kato En. After the two of them looked at it together, they also showed a look of surprise. A mere chamber of commerce has monopolized so many industries. It doesn't look simple at all. I think Danzo is right. They must have a conspiracy. The two swallowed their saliva, and a desire arose spontaneously. Looking at the appearance of the three people, Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that the three people who had always been at odds might have to stand on the same front for the first time. For some reason, he felt a little agitated in his heart. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at the three people and said, "Let's wait and see about this matter. What conspiracy does a mere chamber of commerce have? But we still have to pay more attention. Prevent spy invasion." As soon as Sarutobi Hiruzen finished speaking, the eyes of the three lit up. As the same Konoha F4, how could the three not understand what he meant? What he meant was not to go too far, to do it secretly and not let anyone know, and also to charge the other party with the crime of being a spy. It has to be you. Sarutobi Hiruzen. No wonder why they say you are the Hokage. Mito Kato En expressed his contempt for this, wanting to be a whore and also want to be a saint. Rarely, several people showed meaningful smiles. "We should first check the other party's background," said Udatane Kaharu faintly. "Leave this matter to me, the root, because I am the root of Konoha buried deep underground," Danzo said righteously. In fact, Danzo wanted to swallow most of the benefits after the investigation was thorough. Water Country, Kurigakure. Mei Terumi is meeting with some high-level officials at this moment. They are all very satisfied with the cooperation with the Seven Colored Chamber of Commerce, which is due to the outstanding performance of the Seven Colored Chamber of Commerce in the past month. In just 1 month, they have received 100 million taels of dividends. This is because the Seven Colored Chamber of Commerce is still expanding and needs a lot of money. When the industry spreads to the entire ninja world, the wealth they harvest will be even greater. By next year, they estimate that their next dividend may exceed 1 billion. So much money is still very rare for their Kurigakure. When they have money, they don't have to rely on the supply from the daimyo all the time. They can also expand the number of ninjas, build training grounds, forge weapons, and restore the strength of Kurigakure. Although they still have to provide manpower to the seven-colored Chamber of Commerce, those ninjas have commissions, which makes them even happier. Although the financial dividends this time are not much for the entire Kurigakure, the future prospects are clearly visible. Because of this incident, some different factions in Kurigakure have been more respectful to her, and they used to rely on the prestige of the marshal to support her. Okay, let's discuss that matter next. The marshal glanced around. His prestige was now even higher than that of the Mizukage Terumi Mei. Recently, there have always been unknown ninjas investigating and attacking the seven-colored Chamber of Commerce. I suspect those ninjas are from the root of Konoha. The seven-colored Chamber of Commerce has huge profits, and the people from Kurigakure who are present basically regard it as their own industry. The reason why the marshal is sure that they are ninjas from the root is mainly because those people are too ruthless and cruel. The men sent by Danzo did not wear Konoha's clothes, but from the style and ninjutsu, they are undoubtedly the roots under Konoha Danzo. Moreover, in the ninja world, they are like dead soldiers, and from the skin point of view, the ninjas in other parts of the ninja world have rough skin and their appearance is also slightly different. These subtle features are all seen by the marshal. Since they want to pull teeth out of a tiger's mouth, let's make them pay the price. The crowd said angrily. Terumi Mei looked at the people in front of her without saying a word. It was rare to see this group of people unite and face the outside world in unison. Because the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce recruited their villagers, the current Kurigakure village has begun to prosper. Business drives economic development, and after some people become wealthy, the ninjas receive more tasks. It's hard to see the hope of Kurigakure's revival, and Terumi Mei is not going to let others destroy this industry that seems to bring some happiness to Kurigakure. Now Kurigakure's mental outlook is really getting better. If someone dares to reach out, then chop off his claws. Leave this matter to me. I will make those guys understand that the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce cannot be touched. Terumi Mei exudes a powerful aura, and this power makes people around her feel extremely shocked. Terumi Mei's strength has become stronger again. She is worthy of being a woman who can control multiple bloodline limits. Everyone couldn't help but show a look of fear, and then disappeared, and at the same time there was a bit of excitement. Now they are standing on a united front. The stronger Terumi Mei is, the more benefits they will get. Kill these fools. A ninja wearing a forehead protector from the Hidden Mist village cursed and attacked the ninja in front of him. For 2 months, there have been some scoundrels who have come to spy on the details of the Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce. So Terumi Mei also sent more people. Even if no more people were sent, the Hidden Mist in front of him was willing to protect the Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce. Because he was the only ninja in his family, and he was still a civilian ninja, and he didn't know when he would die in a certain mission. But since the arrival of the Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce, his wife was recruited to work in the Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce, and life began to become more interesting. Especially last time he was still on a mission, but his child suddenly became seriously ill and needed a lot of money for treatment. The medical level of the Hidden Mist village is not as good as that of Konoha, so the medical costs are naturally rising. Therefore, the price is expensive. He is still on a mission outside, and his wife has no choice but to borrow money from some relatives and friends, but no one is willing to lend this high fee. It's really a penny that makes a hero fall. Finally, it was his wife who went to the steward of the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce to advance her salary so that her child could be cured. In fact, the salary was not enough to cover the cost of treatment, and in the end the steward even reduced half of the cost of treatment. Although he is not a hero, he also has his own integrity. Facing those who spy on the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce and want to take it for themselves, he must kill them at his hands, even if it means risking his own life. If he frowns, he, Shenchuan Zai, is not a man. Even if he dies in battle. Sayuri once said that the people of the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce are very good to the people who work for them, and the orphans even have benefits, enough to support themselves. Men who have experienced the blood mist policy know. Such days have never happened before, and he will not let anyone break this peace. Water style. Water wave. A ninjutsu was launched, repelling the enemy, and the shuriken in his hand was thrown without hesitation, and blood gradually stained the ground red. But Yamakawa Zai's arm was getting more and more sore. The swing of the kunai in his hand was getting weaker and weaker. The companions around him fell one after another. The wounds on his body were getting more and more. Is this the end? On his deathbed, Sayuri and his child appeared in Yamakawa Zai's mind. A touch of happiness flashed across his lips, but at the same time, bitterness appeared. Seeing that a kunai was about to be shot at him, he no longer had the strength to dodge, and could only close his eyes in despair. Bang! Bang! Two collision sounds rang out, and the kunai that was about to kill Yamakawa Zai was actually bounced away by another kunai. While Yamakawa Zai was stunned, a beautiful figure came into view. Red lips like fire, a slim figure, fair skin, dark red hair with long bangs, only one eye was exposed, emerald pupils, and a tight combat uniform, but it did not affect her beautiful face at all. This is Mizukage Terumi Mei. Not only did Konoha want to get a piece of the pie, but even these wandering ninjas dared to come out and rob the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce's goods. Terumi Mei's beautiful face showed anger. The people of Konoha had been beaten back before, and now even these wandering ninjas dared to make trouble for Tai Sui. How brave. It seems that I am too merciful. Terumi Mei revealed a murderous look, and spit out a ball of hot liquid from her mouth, which directly melted the wandering ninja who almost killed Yamakawa Zai just now. A tragic cry sounded, but Yamakawa Zai did not feel cruel, but the joy of surviving a disaster. The remaining cats still wanted to escape, but Terumi Mei directly ended their lives with a water dragon bullet. Clean up the battlefield. Yes, Mei Terumi ordered, then turned to look at Yamakawa Sawano and said, "You are very good, you will be a special jonin from now on. And you are allowed to choose a ninjutsu." Yamakawa Sawano was overjoyed. He knew that this behavior made Mei Terumi very satisfied. In addition, if he gets a ninjutsu treasured in the village, he may be able to improve his strength to the jonin level. Even an ordinary jonin is enough. Just after cleaning up the battlefield, a ninja hurried to report, "Lord Mizukage. Danzo requests negotiation." Mei Terumi laughed coldly after hearing this. Haha. This old dog really has a good plan. They already knew that it was Danzo who did it. In the days that followed, Danzo wanted half of the profits of the Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce in the Land of Fire. What a big appetite. You should know that the most products of the Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce are sold to the Land of Fire. The profits are so huge. How is it possible to want half of the profits of the Land of Fire right away? Mei Terumi strongly opposed it, and Danzo was helpless. After all, his behavior only represented an individual, and it was impossible to drag the entire village into the water. And there was no point in dragging the village into the water. The money probably wouldn't go into the pocket of Danzo. And other families in the Hidden Mist also sent a large number of people to resist him, Shimura Danzo. Faced with the disparity in the power of the enemy and us, Danzo retreated, and Danzo, with the help of Shisui, tied the Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce to the chariot of the Hidden Mist village. What no one knew was that a company called Umbrella Cosmetics had quietly scattered its products among the major countries along with the Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce. For a time, it attracted the love of a large number of women. Here, Mei Terumi had led the people of the Hidden Mist village to the location mentioned by Danzo Shimura. Lord Mizukage, needless to say, if your Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce wants to expand throughout the Land of Fire, you must give me 50% of the profits. Otherwise I will stop you from running. Danzo said threateningly. Haha, Elder Danzo is really capable. Do you really think Konoha village can control all the towns in the Land of Fire? You are really more powerful than the daimyo. Mei Terumi mocked secretly. This made Danzo a little angry, because what Mei Terumi said was right. He really couldn't control the expansion of the Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce in the Land of Fire. But it is still possible to create some trouble for the Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce. For example, leak the news to the Wandering Ninja. After carefully investigating the size and wealth of the Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce, Danzo was jealous. The Seven-Colored Chamber of Commerce can develop so fast. In addition to Naruto's ideas and thoughts, it is also thanks to Shisui's use of illusions to control many large and small businessmen and integrate resources into one place. That's why it can form a scale in such a short time. There is no point in saying more. Danzo, whatever you want to do, we will do it. I just want to see what you can do to us. At this time, a ninja from the Kazuna family said coldly. Their family has received tens of millions of dividends from the seven-colored Chamber of Commerce in the past 2 months. How could they let Danzo get involved? Isn't this sending their own money away? Not only that, people from several large families who had been arguing in the past also stood up. Danzo's face turned green in an instant, and the anger in his heart was about to break through the sky. He didn't expect that Kurigakure was so strong, and the families that had always been at odds actually united to resist him. Humph, I've got it in mind. Just wait and see. Danzo walked away angrily, with a gloomy look on his face. The Hidden Mist Village, the Mizukage. Danzo was furious after returning to the root base and smashed everything he saw around him to pieces. Master Danzo, please don't be angry, we still have a chance. At this time, a root ninja stepped forward and said. Danzo's eyes suddenly showed murderous intent. A wind blade appeared, instantly splitting the ninja in front of him and spilling blood on the ground, but the surrounding root ninjas were no longer surprised. This ninja was still too young. He joined the root recently, and he obviously didn't listen to the advice of his predecessors. Master Danzo is terrible and strange, no matter what happens, it's not strange. Drag him out and deal with him. Danzo's gloomy voice sounded. Yes, a root ninja appeared and dragged the body out. Kurigakure, you dare not give me face, wait until I become Hokage, I will make you pay the price sooner or later. Danzo's cursing voice echoed in the room, and his hand couldn't help but touch his right eye that was wrapped in bandages. In the Hokage's office, the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled a large puff of smoke. He didn't expect that he would even fail Danzo. It seems that Kurigakure is really the one behind the Seven Colors Chamber of Commerce. It is very likely that in order to revive Kurigakure, the families of Kurigakure village have united to create such a huge industry. The voice of the third generation was slightly hoarse, and the air was full of smoke, causing Danzo and the other two to frown slightly, but the most important thing now is to discuss the affairs of Kurigakure village. Danzo, let's leave it at that for now. We can't start a war. The third generation knew that if he allowed Danzo to continue like this, the result would be the anger of the Kurigakure, and finally a war would break out. Although the third generation was also envious of the economic development, their fire country was already very strong and rich in resources. Therefore, the third generation did not want to reach the point of breaking out a war with Kurigakure. Don't worry about it, I've made note of this matter. As soon as Danzo finished speaking, the third generation knew that Danzo would definitely not give up so easily. Danzo, calm down. It seems that the root should be reorganized. We can't afford war, understand? If a war breaks out, other hidden villages will definitely take advantage of it. The third generation said in a deep voice. Without the Uchiha clan, Konoha's combat power has declined a lot. Humph, Sarutobi, you will regret it, you are old. Danzo slammed the door again, leaving the three people looking at each other. The third generation snorted coldly. Danzo has been going too far recently, and he is not so respectful to him as a Hokage. In his opinion, Danzo is a complete reckless man, and he is not afraid, but worried that the peaceful life that he has finally achieved will be broken. What the third generation does not know is that with the increase of age, he has lost the spirit of a former ninja hero. People, in their old age, can't let go. Several people parted unhappily. As soy sauce, Kaharu Udatane and En Midoman did not say anything and turned away. Only the third generation was left silently in the office and began to review the documents. At this time, his slightly fluctuating heart calmed down. At the same time, there was a sense of satisfaction. 2 hours later, the third generation raised his head, looked at the time, and suddenly thought of something. He took out the crystal ball. After a while, a picture appeared on the crystal ball. Naruto's figure was revealed. Naruto, who was practicing, suddenly felt a sense of peeping. This feeling, telescope technique. Naruto quickly used the chakra dialogue room to inform Sasuke and Neji who were fighting. After receiving Naruto's notification, the two quickly reduced their combat power to the level of genin, showing the normal strength of a genin, although a little stronger than an ordinary genin. And Naruto, sitting cross-legged on the ground, conceived his new ninjutsu. Naruto called it the wind control technique. In fact, Naruto disliked the trouble of using the moon step to fly to the sky, so he wanted to develop a ninjutsu that could fly with the help of wind power. Wind controlling technique proficiency +6, wind controlling technique proficiency +7. The voice in Naruto's mind proved that Naruto was not wrong, his idea was effective. And this is also thanks to the huge amount of knowledge in his mind. With the ninjutsu sponsored by the Danzo base, Naruto's understanding of ninjutsu has reached a very high level. Originally, Naruto's initial idea was to directly develop the ability to fly in the sky at will, but the pitifully low progress in his mind made him change the idea of directly creating flight, and then chose the less difficult wind control technique. It sounds like wind control technique, but in fact, as long as there is air, Naruto can fly. Even if there is no air, Naruto can control chakra to form a jet to achieve a similar effect of flying. I originally wanted to conduct a flight experiment, but the old dog of the third generation was monitoring, which made Naruto's teeth itch. Although it is also possible to construct experiments in the mind, in this case, it will probably take more time to form a ninjutsu. The ability of God's reward for hard work is not omnipotent, it is just an auxiliary. It still depends on Naruto's own efforts to go higher. And God's reward for hard work gives Naruto the ability to turn the impossible into possible. The third generation looked at Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke and Hyuga Neji in the crystal ball. Although he didn't know how Hyuga Neji got mixed up with them, the third generation could only attribute it to the mutual admiration between geniuses. Looking at the few people who were practicing seriously, the third generation was extremely moved. These young talents are the hope for the future of Konoha. He hasn't visited Naruto for a long time. Since the demise of the Uchiha family, the village has been short of manpower, so the third generation transferred Uzumaki Yugao away from Naruto. So no one reported Naruto's situation to him. From the previous reports, it can be seen that Uzumaki Naruto is a genius. He really deserves to be Minato's child. Thinking of Minato, the third generation couldn't help but feel a little guilty. Thinking of Naruto's life over the years, it might be that he didn't care enough about him when he was a child, and sometimes he couldn't even take care of Naruto in terms of money. No one knows whether the third generation can't take care of him or wants to tie Naruto to his side. After a while, Naruto felt the spy disappear. After meditating for a while, just when he was about to try out the idea in his mind, he felt someone approaching. Naruto was very familiar with this person's chakra. It was the third Hokage's. Why is he here? Naruto was a little surprised. Then he put on a happy smile after seeing the third generation. Naruto, who had already mastered his acting skills to the maximum level, naturally came here casually. Grandpa Sanda, do you know that I have no living expenses recently? A 7-color shopping mall has opened recently, and my money is not enough. Naruto showed an expectant look, really expectant. Sanda, forget about this. Naruto is good in every aspect, but he is a bit of a money grubber. The third generation showed a stiff smile, then took out a wallet from his pocket and handed it to Naruto. Naruto smiled and opened it. There were at least several thousand taels, and he happily accepted it. The third generation was as if his heart was pierced. This was his private money, and all his money was handed over to the family. Although he had several places to hide his private money. The third generation showed a stiff expression, but as an old fox, he returned to normal in an instant. Naruto, you are still practicing hard. How have you been recently? The third generation tried his best to appear more kind. Naruto suddenly smiled and said, Grandpa third generation, I have been doing very well recently. I have met a lot of classmates. Look, we often practice together. It's just that training has been more laborious lately. Naruto said the second half, pretending to secretly glance at the third generation. The third generation. The third generation was very satisfied with Naruto's appearance. He knew Naruto's performance in the ninja school. He was indifferent to ordinary people. But he was more enthusiastic. Doesn't this mean that he has a very important position in Naruto's heart? However, besides being greedy for money, this is a bit bad. Haha, little Naruto, next time I come to see you, I'll buy you a few kunai. After saying that, the third generation left in a hurry. Hee, you little brat, I can't control you anymore. A trace of disdain flashed through Naruto's heart. After the third generation left, Sasuke and Neji came over. In order to prevent the wall from eavesdropping, they talked in the consciousness space. Naruto, what is the third Hokage doing here? After being influenced by Naruto, the two of them didn't have a good impression of the third Hokage. The destruction of the Uchiha clan and the death of Hyuga Hazashi, the father of Hyuga Neji, were all caused by the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. In addition, they also knew Naruto's identity. The first person to know Naruto's identity was Rock Lee. Naruto did not tell the two of them about his identity at first. Later, in order to describe the darkness of Konoha and analyze the filth of the Konoha high-level officials, Naruto told the two of them his identity. The two were very shocked when they heard the news. They thought Naruto was just an ordinary orphan. But they didn't expect that Naruto was actually the orphan of the fourth Hokage. In terms of status, he was even more noble than them. Even though one of them was the young master of the Uchiha clan and the other was the son of the head of a branch clan. What shocked them even more was Naruto's living conditions. Simply, it's even worse than the average orphan. If Naruto himself wasn't capable, he would probably have to live in hardship forever. Isn't that right in the original work? He drinks expired milk, and when buying vegetables, he has to pick out rotten leaves that others don't want, and the price is even more expensive than ordinary vegetables. This also caused Naruto's height to be even shorter than Sakura at the beginning of the original work, and he was called a shorty. Unlike Naruto now, he has a very strong physique, and because he often eats meat and practices physical skills, he looks extremely strong. However, he is not the kind of muscular man who looks strong, but a perfect golden ratio body. It's ironic that a descendant of Hokage has to find a way to survive on his own. Konohamaru, the grandson of the third Hokage, seems to be equipped with a special Jonin to act as a personal teacher. This treatment is really good. This old guy just comes to me from time to time to show his presence. This is the self-righteous method of attacking the heart of the third generation, using fire. The name of will makes others believe in him, pretending to be righteous and moral on the surface is simply disgusting. Naruto said with disdain. In fact, I don't know how many bad things Danzo has done. Konoha will not last long in his hands. Naruto shook his head and said no more. The two of them were slightly moved, although they had heard some things about Sarutobi Hiruzen from Naruto before. However, every time they heard about the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, they felt very sad. The image of the third Hokage has quietly changed in their hearts. He is no longer so respectable, but just a corrupt and dark old man who is greedy for power. Forget it, let's continue practicing. Naruto continued, and the two nodded, and then they started practicing again. The fierce offensive was displayed again between the moves. Ningqi's reaction was extremely fast. After getting Naruto's practice method for the 6 styles, Ningqi combined it with the rubbing fist and created a set of 6 style rubbing fists of his own. Because of the rubbing fist, Ningqi has a deep understanding of paper painting, and there are common principles. Sasuke focuses on ninjutsu, but Naruto does not allow him to use large-scale ninjutsu, because it is easy to be noticed by the village. Because of this, Sasuke has fallen into a disadvantage, but Ningqi can't win for the time being. Although Sasuke's physical skills are not as good as Shaoli and Ningqi, but relying on the dynamic vision of the Sharingan, he can easily capture Ningqi's trajectory. Therefore, he can defend back and forth. Soft fist technique. 8 diagrams 64 palms. Ningqi seized the opportunity and continuously sent out phantoms with his hands. Sasuke's Sharingan was already operating at high speed, but unfortunately, even though he could see the trajectory clearly, his body could not dodge. Iron block, iron body. Sasuke hurriedly condensed chakra and combined with the original 6 styles to stay away, trying to resist Neji's fist. The iron block that Sasuke is using now is actually the iron block adapted by Naruto. In the original One Piece, how many people died under the iron block? They could have avoided it, but they had to go up and bear it. As a result, they were half crippled. Naruto was also inspired and made a big upgrade to the iron block with the help of the ability of God's reward for hard work. The current iron block can also be regarded as a complete training method. The lowest stage, iron body. The body is as hard as iron. As the name suggests, it is as defensive as steel. Combined with chakra, it becomes a kind of ninjutsu similar to ninja body technique effect. The defense is better than before. This is the stage Sasuke is in now. The next stage is to condense the bronze body. The body's defense will rise several levels again. And it can also strengthen the body's strength and activate body cells. If the first stage is pure defense, then this stage begins to undergo a qualitative change. Because he can enhance the user's strength like the 8 gates. However, the enhancement effect is not that strong. The advantage is that there are no side effects, and it mainly consumes chakra and physical strength. But don't forget, what is the role of the iron block? It is defense. Enhanced defense is the most important. And the realm after the bronze body is the golden body. Achievement golden body. The body is extremely hard, the defense is unparalleled, the chakra begins to be violent, and ninjutsu cannot be used. Because the chakra is in the riot stage, it is like opening the 8 gates. The combat power is greatly increased. Once the golden body is opened, the chakra consumption increases, it is not something that ordinary people can afford, and the physical fitness must be up to standard. And Naruto is only at the half-step golden body level now. There are basically no natural treasures in the ninja world that can strengthen the body, so Naruto's current physical strength is limited by his current age and body. The realm of the golden body is similar to the Raikage chakra mode. Every part of the body is a weapon. And the reason why he can achieve the half-step golden body is because the whirlpool physique and the super recovery ability provided by the 9 tails. Otherwise, it would just be a bronze body. In Naruto's imagination, there is another stage, the indestructible golden body. At this stage, Naruto's imagination should have surpassed the level of Kage, and has achieved the transformation of flesh and blood, and the evolution of life level. It is a method that Naruto came up with by referring to some fantasy and high-level martial arts training methods in his previous life, combined with chakra, but the theory is not perfect. Naruto estimates that natural energy may be needed at that stage. And natural energy seems to be able to realize Naruto's idea of longevity. And natural energy is also a very advanced ability, at least above chakra. There is the potential to challenge the 6 paths. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.